guilty of crime.
Well, hello, everybody. What's up? We're back. I'm Jay with Guilty of Crime, and I'm so glad to be here today. All right, guys, as you know, it's my channel, it's my commentary. I present the facts and I give you my opinions. I could not wait for today to break this down to y'all. All right, listen. Nancy Guthrie family cleared, exclamation mark, question mark. No DNA match on the glove through CODIS, which still gives us an opportunity to get those gloves matched into a system such as 123andMe to find family connections. So not to worry, but the glove that was found 2 weeks later outside matches nothing. Those are not the same gloves. Why does the story keep changing? And for those of you that say, Jay, you said you would apologize if the family wasn't involved. Not just yet, my friends. Not just yet. I am not apologizing at all until this is official. And when you see what I have to present to you today, well, first of all, I'm going to present everything, right? I'm going to present everything that I did not get to present because I was not here yesterday and I was not here on Friday, I believe. I was off doing my thing, but I've been paying attention, of course, and I have all the updates, everything you need to know with a timeline involved. And when I tell you that I play one video where I play a video and I read an article that shows this incompetent sheriff that, by the way, now is using the excuse that one of his family members took their own life the day before he started this case. So then why was he at a basketball game and not a funeral? Right now, not only does the sheriff say all kinds of stuff, but I'm going to show you in the same breath that he says the family's cleared. And then 2 seconds later and a day after, he says nobody's cleared. And I'm going to show you. This is not AI. I did not clip it apart. I said, I'm going to go on here. I'm going to do this research. I'm going to tell you all about Nancy Guthrie and the family cleared. I will absolutely apologize to Annie and Tommaso and family if that's the case. But then I found another interview where Kayla Day, which is a niece of Nancy Guthrie, to possibly be involved. So I'm not apologizing just yet. I'm not believing what's being put out there. I think that particular statement that was said very quick, by the way, it's like, hey, stop blaming the family. I mean, the literal first statement lasted like 30 seconds on a news clip. Okay, we're just going to clear the family. Nobody's cleared yet, but let's not blame the family. Blech. That's about how fast he said he might as well go real fast because I couldn't understand him. And then I kept going. And a day later, I find the same sheriff saying nobody's cleared. So this case just gets crazier. I say, why does this story keep changing? And I have stuff to back that up. I have it to back it up. And I absolutely will say, sorry, Annie and Tommaso, if I thought you were involved as being the last people once they are officially cleared. Nobody's been officially cleared. And I got to tell you guys, not only has nobody been officially cleared, but they're doubling down that the person or people that did this knew Miss Nancy and the family. All right, so here we go. I'm glad to be back. Good to see you. Come on in, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can. Hopefully, it's a nice chill day today. That way we can talk and chat and get to the real deal. All right, what's up, Rocco? Good to see you. Velvet Unicorn, Foxy's here. I think we're only gonna have like Foxy and Synth, possibly. Tiff is not feeling good, so say prayers for her that she gets better faster. All right. Sander, how you doing? Good, lots of good people in here. Good to see you. Miss Kathy, True Crime Files. Angie, what's up? How you doing? Tony B. You guys, come on and Edith. It's so good to have you back. This guy or girl's name is Nothing, so hello, Nothing. Amethyst, and everybody else in the house. What's going down, guys? All right, well, when I say I got a full show for you, boy, do I got a full show for you. No, I do not think that the sheriff's involved. Yes, I think the sheriff's incompetent AF. And at this point, it's a pissing match. It's a pissing contest between FBI and sheriff. And the sheriff wants to be right. The sheriff wants to outdo FBI. His ego is bigger than the hats that you see them wearing. And I'm telling you right now, I watched the interview where the guy straight up just said they're having pissing contests and to see who has the bigger DICK. You know what I'm saying? They're pulling it out. They're saying mine's bigger than yours and I'm pissing farther than you. I win. Okay, so this is not just about Nancy Guthrie and bringing her home. It is for us. We want Nancy to be brought home. I don't think she's alive anymore. They speculate that she's still alive. They think that it's a robbery gone wrong. No, nothing was stolen. All right. But as it's like I said, it's a pissing contest. Sheriff's an elected position. That says a lot. And you picking up what I'm putting down, Jen's a Gypsy. I hope so. I hope so. We got incompetency. We've got little man syndrome, big man syndrome. Who could piss farther? Who has the bigger cockadoodle-doo? All right. And who, frankly, can do a better job. And that's not how we do. We want to work together. They're just full of lies. And today I'm going to show you straight from the case is all over the place now. And that's why today I did not want to let you guys down by covering something else. I don't want to be that person that comes to you and says, Annie and Tommaso are the suspects, and then get a statement that says family's cleared, and then Jay from Guilty of Crime just starts doing another case because I can't back my shit up. No, my friends, that is not how I work at all. All right, so Allie Callie, CM, Mama Pearl, Judd the Gypsy. Let's get to it. Jay's talking about pee-pee and wee-wees. That's right. You know sheriffs and FBI have major pissing contests, and when they piss, they pull it out, and whoever has the bigger one wins. I guess whoever can piss the farthest might win, too. I wouldn't know about that, but hey, you know how that goes. What's up, Chief Rock? Good to see you, buddy. Our Guilty of Crime boyfriend is back. Chantel, how you doing? All right, guys, we got that goal up there. No biggie. You guys can get yourself a membership. Gift a membership. I've got my books on the way. We're going to be giving out more Foxy boxes coming up, and boy, are we're always giving stuff out. You know how we do. Get yourself a membership, gift yourself a membership, and all of the other thing. Yeah, Jay's talking mister. Now listen, you say you agree the FBI and the sheriff are having a male appendage contest. They're not even trying to deny it, is the thing. And that's the only reason today there was several interviews with Mr. Incompetent Sheriff. And boy, does he have his tough guy voice on. And he's trying to dull down the rumors that his ego has gotten ahead of him. So we're going to do all that today. Cirrus is in the house. She says, choo, choo. What's up, my girl? Good to see you. You got a new picture there. Good to see you. I like your picture. Edith, been a member for 8 months. Woo woo. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. Again, let's remember what we're here for. We're here to find this particular person because, well, this is the easiest one because this is the only thing we really have. 5'9", 5'10". We've got all the approximations, things like that. we'll get into it. Clark, good to see you, my friend. James, buddy, what's up? One man trash, hit that like button. All right, so we got those creepy guys, that creepy guy, or those. We're still debating, and we want justice for Nancy Guthrie. I didn't notice in the very first picture. What's up, Indie-ish? I'm good to see you, my friend. And Emily Jane, always a pleasure. Patricia, party in Vegas, baby. I can't wait for that. Rocco's coming to Vegas, right? What's up, Tina? All right, now listen up. I think everybody's behind. Everybody is trying to support this. I'm not going to start getting into anybody being behind it like that. Clark, you know how we do. All right, yeah, hit that. We need to hit that DNA. They need to hit the DNA. All right, so what I'm gonna start off with is just purely sheriff says Nancy Guthrie family spouse is not suspect in abduction, with a few other things. And then I've got this huge document with timelines, and he goes back on his word 2 seconds after he says that. Then he says, nobody's cleared. But sir, and then we're going to listen to him have an ego talk with himself. I mean, there's a lot today, guys. So let's just get into it. I was out this weekend hanging with the family in Napa, and let me just say, I didn't stop paying attention to this, but I tuned it out for a bit so I can focus on the family. Let's go.
Into the search for Nancy Guthrie, the Pima County Sheriff, for the first time, point blank, ruling out any of the Guthrie family members, including siblings and spouses, as possible suspects, saying to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain.
And I agree. If he were to come and say right now, damn it, Annie and Tommaso were unfairly scrutinized, and that Ashley Banfield did a terrible job. I can't believe. Thank you, Kim Young. If you like that smile, then hit that like button for me. There you go. It's right there for you, girl. Thank you. All right. So if that was the case, guys, I would absolutely apologize personally. All right. Why? I know. There's so much today. Don't worry. We got a lot. You said you see something about Savannah. Exactly. We're getting into that. ISIS email 2448. Who you think I am? You think I'm not going to talk about Savannah's niece after looking at this and saying the Guthrie family is cleared? Well, screw you, Mr. Sheriff, because that's a lie. 2 seconds later, you say the opposite thing, and they're recording you. At least if you're going to lie, do it behind the scenes where you're not on video camera, dude. Come on. Or just tell the truth, and you won't have to keep track of your lies. All right.
And simple. As the search drags on, investigators zeroing in on a single piece of evidence found 2 miles from Nancy's home. A discarded glove, the FBI says, contains unknown male DNA. A person familiar with the matter says unlike the other 15 gloves found in the search area, this one is consistent with the one seen on the suspect in the surveillance video. But how relevant it will be is unclear. No female DNA was found.
I think we need to use a lot of caution about jumping to conclusions with the glove. If there were other aspects.
And guys, and now we know that glove that they found 2 miles away is not connected to the crime. They do still have DNA that they're testing. Just because it wasn't tested in CODIS doesn't mean it's not going to be retested in the other systems that are going to check other connections to the family, try to find the 1, 2, 3 and me, etc. Midnight Lace, good to see you. If you received the membership from her, please thank her. Marianne says they didn't clear all the family, or that I could be someone that wasn't related to someone is taking revenge against. But listen to what his statement is, and he doubles down on it. And then I'm going to show you how right after he doubles down, he backtracks on himself. All right, so let's get to that. I mean, he's not doing a great job at all, and he knows it.
Aspects of that glove that tied it to either Nancy or someone who's already been looked at as a person of interest, then it would raise very quickly in priority. But at this point, it's more like a Hail Mary.
Still, the FBI says they're putting the DNA from the glove into their national database. Another question, the suspect's clothes, like the mask and zip-up jacket. The sheriff says it's possible that, like the suspect's backpack, the clothes were also purchased at a Walmart. He says they're currently working with Walmart management to determine who, if anyone, bought all or some of those items.
Man, I was in somebody's chat last night, and boy, was it funny. Aisle 15, the crime aisle. They might as well just have an aisle in Walmart. That's the crime aisle. You should be able to get duct tape, rope, shovels, and whatever else you need, right? Overalls, coveralls, black gloves. Now, listen, in one of the interviews, they actually talk about the black gloves and how many people don't use those. As a matter of fact, they talked about people that use those might be somebody that does tattoos. And the reason they said about somebody doing tattoos is because they now believe the person that did that they see in the camera might have a tattoo that's recognizable for them to match to the crime. So we had talked about those black 9mm tattoo gloves that I use because I can't stand seeing ink all over them. And also, every once in a while, when you're working on something small, your needle will just go right into your glove. And you don't want that needle to go through your glove. Trust me. You don't want someone else's hepatitis on you if they have it, all right? Or whatever. Just saying. All right. Good to see everybody. Come on in. Love y'all. Thank you. I missed you guys. All right.
The sheriff is also hoping even more video could be retrieved from the other Nest cameras on Nancy's property. You're working with the tech company still?
And yeah, we've asked them, and they're working as best they can.
Google, which owns Nest, has not responded to NBC News' request for comment about if they're working to recover more. Tonight, President Trump weighing in on the case again, saying hopefully there will be a positive result. And in an interview with the New York Post, when asked if the DOJ would request the death penalty if Nancy is not returned alive,
I am so glad, and I am all for this. Give this mother trucker or 3 the death penalty. Screw all of it. Just do it. If you guys are caught, you're going to get the death penalty. Come forward now. Bring Miss Nancy home. That's what I'd like to hear anyway. But I am glad that he's saying this because that's scary. If she's alive still, they're going to want to bring her back.
saying, yeah, that's true. This, as Savannah says her family is not giving up hope, pleading with her mother's captor.
It is never too late to do the right thing.
Liz Kreutz joins us now live once again from outside Nancy's home. Liz, you mentioned the DNA on those gloves. Are there any updates on the DNA sample that was taken from inside the property?
Well, Tom, the sheriff tells me that's what his investigators are actively working on right now today. The big question continues to be whose DNA is that, and is it a match for the glove or any potential suspect? Tom.
All right, Liz, we thank you for that. We thank you for watching. And remember,
well, the sheriff doesn't really know much, so we're not going to hold too tight to that. So what I'm going to show you, Allie Callie, is this mother trucker backtracking. After we just watched him say this, why don't we pull this up and we'll see him backtrack. And then after we see him backtrack, then we'll talk about the niece of Savannah, which is also a family member. Come on, guy, get it together. He gave this statement yesterday on the 16th. This just came out, and then another one. Come on, dude. What's your deal? And then you're going to listen to him talk. This is the least unsure person I've ever heard talk in my life and backtrack so much. I'm glad that we know about this sheriff because I hope after all this, he just gets fired, guys. I'm sorry if you guys like him, but he needs to be fired straight up.
So the family, I'm going to say this real careful. They are under tremendous pressure and tremendous grief. And I think it's really irresponsible for anyone to start pointing fingers that way. They have been nothing but cooperative with us.
But I think cooperative and cleared are two different things.
I know, but the evidence will take us there.
Yes, Mr. Cooperative and cleared are two separate things, all right? Pull your ego out of your ass, button your pants back up, and let's talk real talk now, okay? Because he's going to say that again. Yes, we know the family's under real stress, and we, of course, are going to look at the last person to see Nancy alive, and even that little 2-minute walk into the garage, nobody been broken in. Did somebody have a gate clicker? Did they leave the back door open like that on purpose? There was no break-in evidence. All right, there's another one. If you have it, let me know, Joanne, but because I've got a full schedule today. All right, so he's gonna start backtracking here a little bit already.
If that's the case. Right now, we are working close with that family.
Let me show you this again, because
I'm going to say this real careful. They are under tremendous pressure and tremendous grief. And I think it's really irresponsible for anyone to start pointing fingers that way. They have been nothing but cooperative with us.
But I think cooperative and cleared are two different things.
I know, but the evidence will take us there if that's the case. Right now, we are working close with that family, and
yeah, we're working close with the family. Tommaso, we didn't know where he was. He was kind of missing for a week, and Annie was just spotted days ago. Okay, all right, they're working real closely. I see. Wait till you get to the next clip.
Our hearts go out to them.
So they are not cleared as of now.
Nobody's cleared. It's not cleared.
So
that's what I should have made the title of my episode, except for I didn't want y'all to think I was trying to backtrack. Nobody's cleared, guys. Nancy Guthrie family cleared. Exclamation question mark. And then I'm going to show you another one. And this was after he put the statement out that they were cleared. Are they cleared or are they not cleared? I don't get it. He does really need to stop talking. The case is a mess. And he admits that he effed this up in the first couple of days. First, he tries to blame it on a death in his family. But why wasn't he at a funeral instead of a basketball game? It makes no sense.
The family, I'm going to say this real careful.
Hold on. Sorry.
They are under tremendous pressure and tremendous grief. And I think it's really irresponsible for anyone to start pointing fingers that way. They have been nothing but cooperative with us.
But I think cooperative and cleared are two different things.
I know, but the evidence will take us there if that's the case. Right now, we are working close with that family, and our hearts go out to them.
So they are not cleared as of now.
Nobody's cleared.
So
I think he just doesn't want to get sued. I think he knows he effed up royally in the beginning. And you guys know he did, because there's several interviews where he talks about the first couple days letting people go back onto the scene. Oh, but wait, it gets better, because even after we get article after article that clears them, he comes on again and says the same thing. And then we're going to listen to JLR have the interview about the niece that may be involved, which is still, in fact, a family member. Wow, go figure.
Sheriff, you said you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that my investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't. But no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then later I learn something else? No.
Sheriff, you said you've identified no suspects. Have you ruled out anyone she was with on Saturday night?
You know, we've talked to so many. I'm sure that my investigators have feelings about this one's clear or this one isn't. But no, I wouldn't say anybody's ruled out yet, because what if I rule you out and then
this guy is an idiot. And I'm sorry, but he's been messing it up from the beginning. How are you going to put out misinformation that the family's cleared, and then you get a clear question? And we're going on to a new interview after this, after I show you about the niece. Again, he sounds a little bit more confident in that, but what? What is he talking about? Why is he? Okay, I honestly think that he doesn't want to get sued. I think that when Ashley Banfield came out with her source told her about that, and then people started pointing fingers, he jumped in because the family was complaining to him about, hey, why are they following us? Why are they pointing fingers? And so he jumped in. People with no criminal history have done the most heinous thing, but there is a criminal history. I believe that Tomas does have some kind of criminal history. Annie may not, but the people not only tied to Tommaso have theft and criminal history, and one of them at least was the one that asked for the Bitcoin that texted directly to them. So although I'm not saying it's Annie and Tommaso that did it, I'm saying don't tell us they're cleared in one breath and put it all over, and then in the next breath tell us nobody's cleared. It's just not good. It's not good for the case. It's not good for anything. Thank you so much, Foxy, for the Guilty of Crime membership. If you received a membership from Foxy, please do thank her. This guy it can't be any more incompetent.
Later, I learned something else. No.
He says, I don't want to say it because what if later I learn something else? Well, isn't that what detectives do? I mean, I told you guys from the get-go, Annie and Tommaso, Annie. And I told you if I find out that Annie and Tommaso didn't do it and they were cleared, that I would say, hey, my apologies. That was me going with my gut, following the leads, following the detectives, and I was wrong. Isn't that what he's supposed to do? What does that mean? He can't say that. It doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. I've never heard anybody say, any sheriff that's running this case say, well, I'm not going to say that because what if of course it's going to shift. He can't even tell you how many suspects there are. At this point, they're saying there's 40 suspects, one gun, and 40 suspects on a list that we know nothing about. Makes no sense.
And then later I learned something else. No.
Sheriff, you said you've identified.
He's all about himself, guys. He's literally just trying to save himself. Angel, you're right. He's a clown. All right. This guy is this is why he stopped doing press conference. All he does is lie. All right. Then we're going to watch that interview real quick with, again, another possible family member connection to the case. Again, this is just JLR. He's out on the field, did an interview with this guy, and listen to what he says. Okay. Again, everything is in my opinion on this channel. It's my commentary, my thoughts, my views presented with the evidence that I have. All right, let's go again. Hold on. Let me get the volume up.
So did they like dig or what did they do? They dig and then it was probably enough.
Oh, he got it so low. Damn it.
Oh, so they're taking that seriously over there. So, and since then, I've been.
It's hard to hear it.
I was able to get one of the detectives numbers. I don't know if I should. Yeah, Detective Gifford and Detective Zerby, and they're awesome. They're cool people. They're the ones who picked me up. Who are they? With Pima County? Pima County. So check this out. You guys will not believe this.
No.
Cracked it open.
Hold on.
Maybe it's a nothing burger, but Luke Daly. Let's pull this thing up a minute. Hold on.
Damn it.
Daly, who was of
Step
course.
back. Step back.
Yeah.
You're good.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Luke
This-
Daly, thank you, man. Good to see you, John. Anyway, so Luke Daly.
All right, you guys might have heard some of those names. All right, Luke Daly. There's a Kayla. Now, this is not. I apologize about the volume. This is JLR's. I listened to this earlier and I put it in my headphones, so you might have to listen. There's not even captions on it, so I can't put captions. But what he's saying is, and I'll play it. That is a very odd tattoo that goes around his neck. But regardless, he's telling us a connection that he believes to a family member in the Guthrie case again. Okay, so try to keep up. There's nothing I can do with this volume. I don't know. I can't boost it anymore. It's boosted as high as it can go. YouTube's got it as high as it can go. I mean, all right, let's see.
Who was pulled over in the Range Rover, right? And they let him go. Okay, well, looking up Luke Daly, he was arrested in 2025 with a Kayla Day. Kayla Noel.
Okay, Luke and Kayla Day. It's Day, actually. Luke and Kayla Day. And Kayla Day is the niece of Savannah Guthrie. So I'm doing my best here, okay? I can drop the link. There's no way I can get it any louder. Jay, have you seen this? I'm going to put that out next. Don't worry, I got you. I got you covered, my friend. I do. Yes, I've seen it all. I'm playing this in a strategic way so that I can tell you my story of what I believe is happening. Okay?
Day.
Who's Kayla Day?
Kayla Day.
She's related to the Guthries.
She's related to the Guthries. Okay, so Kayla Day and Luke. Kayla Day is related to the Guthries, and Luke is with her. He has a criminal history. We don't know the exact connection yet, but that's what he's telling us. He's telling us that that's what he's telling us. Listen.
Whoa, that's breaking news. I don't know anything. I have to vet this, folks. I'm only going by what he's saying.
How about take my word for it? If I'm lying, you guys can bash me later. Okay? Kayla Noel Day is related.
Kayla Noel Day is related to the Guthries. Okay, another possible suspect. Guys, listen as loud as you can because I'm going to play this only once. She's related to Penny Guthrie, and Luke is connected to her as a boyfriend that has a criminal history. This is what he's telling us.
Penny Guthrie, when you look up her name, all her relatives are Days. So her maiden name was probably Day. Someone said it was Savannah's aunt, Penny Guthrie.
So that was the probable cause link, in a sense.
I don't know.
So he doesn't understand what a probable cause link means, this guy. He says, trust me, from the criminal network. That guy is also a YouTuber. I don't know what his channel is, but he's telling JLR about the connections between Penny Guthrie and Kayla Day and Luke. This is what he's telling us. Again, guy, and there's a it's not a press conference, but we got something for you, Rocco. It's better than a press conference. We're coming after this. Don't fret, my friends.
All I'm telling you this is that Kayla Day is on the run. She was for the same charges that they were arrested with for in 2025 drug trafficking and sales and all that stuff. And she's on the run.
So Kayla Day is on the run right now with Luke, who's also got drug charges, trafficking charges, connected to Penny Guthrie, which is Savannah's relative.
This is the first I heard this, folks.
Me too.
She's from Sawarita, if I pronounced it right.
So is she like the girlfriend to Luke?
Yes. She was arrested with Luke in 2025. So maybe it's
Kayla Day.
No, she's from Sawarita.
Okay. What do you think, folks?
I don't know.
Alex was out in the field here. He was out there. He took pictures. He dug in the stand. He said FBI took him back out to the location just to point it out.
Still searching, man.
Check your feet and see, make sure the prints.
Make sure I had the right shoes.
Or to see, because there's different prints there.
Right. But they take every tip seriously, man. And that's what I took it as. It's like, that's awesome. Yeah.
All right. So again, guys, my whole point here is I believe that this officer, this sheriff is absolutely incompetent. That sketch feels absolutely incompetent to me, but I don't want to get past the new Savannah thing. That you guys also know there's a new plea for Nancy Guthrie and there's a new note to TMZ, right? And there's a new interview with Sheriff Incompetent that tries to sound real tough and sure, but he's not. So let's pull this down and let me not forget this. And I promise you got a big show today. If anything breaking comes, please let me know. Send me an email, drop me a text down there, whatever. I want to make sure that you guys that we're all on the same page, right? This was the latest one. I'm going to play it straight from her Instagram. She's pleading for, and we should be too. All right, Nancy Guthrie, please, if you have her, please bring Nancy Guthrie home. If you know where Nancy Guthrie's body is, please bring her body home. Just bring her home. All right.
To come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken.
And you guys now know this is into the third week. Sorry, I won't interrupt again.
I wanted to come on, and it's been 2 weeks since our mom was taken, and
thank you.
I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope, and we still believe. And I wanted to say to whoever has her or knows where she is, that it's never too late. And you're not lost or alone. And it is never too late to do the right thing. And we are here. And we believe. And we believe in the essential goodness of every human being. And it's never too late.
And I think when she says it's never too late, I honestly think she means it's never too late to bring her home, let her go. I don't know that she really thinks she's alive anymore. Yeah, this one is here. You could feel the real emotions. You can see it. I mean, it's out there plain as day. That's why I like playing it from her show. All right, now we're gonna catch up to everything else. Welcome, improve yourself. Thank you so much for becoming a member. And you say you're the best. I also love San Francisco, my favorite city. Been listening to you for weeks. Well, thank you. That's refreshing to hear. I have a new sub, and I really do appreciate your super chat. Thank you so much. All right, so we're catching up quickly on everything. Just so you guys know, today's February 17th, 2026. So let's listen to this.
Found out that the DNA that authorities got back when it comes to the Nancy Guthrie case has not been entered into CODIS yet. Now, I was doing some research last night. Putting DNA into CODIS right away is not something that authorities typically do. It takes time for processing and verification. It takes time to ensure that the sample is uncontaminated and quantified. Essentially, there's standards that need to be met. And if authorities feel like this DNA sample could actually lead them to the person that they are going to arrest, then they need to adhere to strict guidelines so that there are not any issues when it comes to this person in the courtroom being tried. From the sounds of it, it seems like law enforcement is pretty confident when they put this DNA into CODIS, they are going to get a person's identity back, which would indicate that whoever took Nancy and may have done something to her has a...
And we now know it came back. There's nothing in CODIS that matches, but we're really truly hoping for them to go out and do the DNA just like they did with Brian Koberger and find a connection or a match to a family member. Because what we do know, what we can't deny is that it's somebody that knew who Nancy was, who knew who Savannah is, who knows they have a bit of money. There's, again, I don't think it was for originally for a kidnapping. Something got botched. Either that or they're just terrible kidnappers. All right. But we still have the hope of the second glove that was found supposedly in or around the house to have DNA that matches somebody in the system to link back to another person. Now, the first glove that they found outside the other day, as of now, they say it's nothing. All right.
Criminal record in the past. Now, it was reported last night that the FBI has went into several different GUN stores and pawn shops in the Tucson, Arizona.
And that's another thing. They're looking for guns, but I also want you to notice here across the screen that it says Nancy's alleged niece was taken into custody without bond. Her niece, Kayla Day, was the girl we were just talking about that would be a family member of the Guthries. So you can just kind of wipe that statement out that Mr. Barney Fife is telling us, because now we've got another arrest. And is it connected to the case? She's connected to the family. What's happening here? I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know why this case is so... why it's all over the place.
Area. Apparently they have photos of about 40 people and they're showing them to these employees to see if they recognize ever selling any weapons to them. The fact that authorities may feel like a GUN is involved in all of this is a little concerning, not gonna lie. We also did find out that there was a Crossroads of the West 2026 GUN show that took place in Tucson, Arizona on January 10th and 11th, 2026, just a couple of weeks before Nancy was last seen. Now, unlike GUN high-end stores where they have to do a background check and do all of this stuff before you purchase a weapon. At these shows, there are private sellers that do not require you to have a background check conducted on you before you purchase a weapon. So it's possible that this weapon could have been purchased at this show by a private seller. Now we're getting some more information when it comes to the people who were detained the other night in connection to Nancy Guthrie's.
And good, we have to go over this because this weekend it was literally an ish show. All right, I was watching, looking, checking around, like, why are there so many people? Why are there so many people that are getting arrested, having literal warrant, federal warrants, and then saying bye-bye? And by the way, they say that they did not have to get a warrant in order to go into Annie and Tommaso's house. Okay, so in one breath, in 1 week, I was told that they did, and this week I was told that they didn't. So yes, Savannah's cousin and Nancy's niece, you can see right there, Nancy's alleged, I can't read that far, niece was taken into custody without bond. There's a lot of that this weekend, a lot of confusion, and that's why I'm trying to catch you all up with the confusion and get into today.
Case, based on what I'm hearing, more than 3 people were detained, and a couple of them, while initially released after being detained for questioning, may still be considered persons of interest here. The first individual being this person right here, Lucas Daly, who was the person that was detained during a traffic stop while driving this Range Rover that he allegedly purchased on 1.
Okay, so is this helping you guys a little to understand the people now? You just heard the name Luke and you heard the name Kayla Day. Are you starting to connect the dots here just in case? Because I was confused as hell this weekend because every time I'd hop online 3 hours, 4 hours later, something new was happening. And I was like, wait a minute, what did I miss? So today I wanted to put it all together. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. I hope that it's helping you put this together and not in a jumbled up way. All right. Let me see if we can go back to his face. I'm not sure that they showed it. Oh, there it is. There's his face. And I got pictures sent to me. Thank you, Holly, this weekend. Holly was helping me out. Holly's one of my mods. She was sending me up-to-date stuff and pictures and names. So thank you. I appreciate that, Holly. Mab says Luke Daly was not the driver of the Range Rover. It was Zach. So now we got all these other people involved, but we're going to get there. We're connecting the dots, guys.
Person right here, Lucas Daly, who was the person that was detained during a traffic stop while driving this Range Rover that he allegedly purchased on 1/23/20.
Now you guys have to remember the Range Rover because everybody's been talking about the gray Range Rover, and if you didn't know, now you know. If you don't know, now you know. I can't say the other part, but Biggie, baby. Zero says, welcome back, Jay. Social media is not the same without you and without Synth. We love you and blessings to you. Well, thank you. Blessings to you. And it's not the same without my crime crew. You got to know that. Please thank and prove yourself. 4850 for the 5 guilty of crime memberships. I do appreciate you. And I hope you guys appreciate the person that gifted that. All right. Just wait, Robert. We're getting to that. Wait till we get to his interview. I picked the best one for you. So we don't have to listen to all of them, but this guy he needs to be fired. He seriously needs to be fired. All right, let's finish this so we can get to all the connections.
26 from MG Motors. Luke Daly has a plethora of past charges of DRUG trafficking, as well as being in possession of weapons that he should not have. Here's some of his report right here with charges dating back to 2017. And then we have Kayla Noel Day, his girlfriend, who was also someone that was detained the other night for questioning in connection to Nancy's case.
All right, so I paused it for a second. Hopefully you guys are starting to recognize the names that you're seeing. I can't even believe that we've been here for almost 45 minutes, guys, and I haven't even got through half of what I want to tell you yet. That's how you know I'm always hyped up about this. Like, I'm so passionate about these cases because I cannot wait to get the things out there that other people want to say and don't say, or just haven't connected yet. Maybe I didn't hear, but for you guys that come here every day, I think that's what you wait for, is for me to help connect the dots, right? Denise, yeah, she's held without bond because she has a past criminal trafficking history as well as drugs. And also, yeah, Savannah and her husband Nancy did have connections to Epstein, but I'm not going there right this second. I don't want to go there right now. What did you say, Mab? Mab said I spent 3 hours and didn't even get done. Yeah, we've been here for 45 minutes already, man. I feel like I haven't said anything. And yes, they should have found her by now. If we thought she was going to be alive, I think they would have found her by now. What's up? Oh, yeah, yeah. Here for it, Queen. Back at you, girl. Love you all. Yes, we're waiting for your channel to come back to fix all your thoughts. You guys know me too well. I was over the weekend. I saw that the family's cleared, and I'm like, there's no way. This cannot. I gotta. It was driving me nuts. And now I'm back. All right, let's go. Yeah, time does fly. Sometimes even when you're not having fun. So go figure. All right, let's continue. We got a lot today.
Kayla is a tattoo artist who has been arrested with Luke Daly in the past pertaining to drug trafficking as well as weapons. Last year, when Luke and Kayla were both arrested with one another, it states in their arrest warrant that they had a backpack, and in that backpack was stuff that they were selling for money. She is allegedly the niece of Nancy Guthrie.
She's also allegedly the niece of Nancy Guthrie, and she's also wearing those black tattooed gloves. Just like I said, most tattoo artists like that. We're pretty like persnickety. If you're a tattoo artist, you got to be like really precise because you got to keep everything clean, everything organized, everything sterile. And the last thing you want is to be tattooing on someone and have like ink all over your blue or white gloves. So a lot of them use black now. She's using black gloves in that picture, and they're the thick ones. So they're connecting that now. FBI has the best detectives and labs in the world. I'm not buying that they have nothing. And I'm not buying that they have nothing either. They're just not telling us. All right. I think the niece of Savannah, not Nancy, it does get complicated. And that's what I'm here for, to try to help us all get uncomplicated, because it is very complicated. All right. Anyway, she's wearing those black gloves right there, my friends. Coincidence?
And as you can see off of her social media pages, as a tattoo artist, she has plenty of access to black gloves. Now, according to public record, Kayla was actually arrested on February 12th, 2026 at approximately 11 p.m. It looks like she's being held without bond, and according to what authorities are saying, the current charges that she's facing does not have to do with Nancy. So I'm wondering if she is currently being held for other charges as they await probable cause to charge her for charges pertaining to Nancy, or if these are just two completely separate incidents. A lot of people do seem to think that Luke Daly does very closely resemble the masked individual standing at Nancy's front door. But why would the two of them want to do something to Nancy? Is it possible that the rumors circulating by news reporters the other day that this was a burglary gone wrong actually true?
And you know what was weird? And we'll go back to that for a second. That face right there, and I'm not saying that's him, but we broke down some, and that we analyzed. We did some analysis with some of the, ex-FBI, etc. This guy's face looks like a mask. Do you remember when someone said the face, they thought they were wearing a mask under a mask, right? Or under the beanie? I don't know why to me, but this guy's dang face looks like it could be a freaking mask. So there's a possibility. I'm like, wow, his face does look like that.
Gone wrong actually true? Or is it possible that the person sending these ransom emails suggesting that Nancy was taken south of the border to Mexico true? It does seem like Luke Daly does have connections to people directly in Mexico. We just don't know right now. I keep going back to the other day when a source close to this investigation allegedly told a reporter that authorities know who this person is standing at Nancy's front door masked up.
Now listen, that's the fourth attempt. And we're gonna talk about that too, because the TMZ letter, the eyes and upper lip look different, but there's different pictures, but people are saying she's in Mexico. I'm not buying it. Thank you, I am too bear. I appreciate you. Hit that like button, y'all. Robert, if you like what we're doing here, please hit that like button. I appreciate you. Matthew and Luke Daly committed the crime, burglary gone wrong. Diana, good to see you, my friend. And I know his face does look AI generated, and that's why I say it looks like a mask. And I am going to get into just 2-minute quick sketch of the artist sketch. I don't like it. I'm not liking it at all. But anyway, that's not my deal.
Is it possible that this is Luke Daly? And remember the other day as well, it was reported that a source close to this investigation found out that Savannah's recent IG video was a plea to a female with knowledge about her mom's disappearance. Was Savannah talking to Kayla? I guess time will tell. What do you guys think about all of this? Let me know in the comments. And of course, as more information comes out,
as more information comes out, you're going to be here for you. All right, I got one more short clip because I'm trying to get these things out of the way to catch up to today. So let's just quickly take a look at this one too. And that way, I like Matt Thibodeau because he gives us shorts, quick and dirty. Quick and raw, baby. Just get it out there. All right, this is about the glove and the DNA glove believed to match the suspect. The one 2 miles away from the residence was submitted. Nothing was produced, but don't worry. There's additional DNA evidence that can be analyzed.
Hey guys, so we are finding out today that the unknown male DNA profile recovered from a glove that matched the suspect standing.
Again, we're all caught up to today. Our next one is going to be Officer Barney Fife telling us BS. All right. Actually, that'll be in a minute. Yes.
And Nancy Guthrie's front door's glove was entered into the FBI database, but produced no matches, according to Sheriff Chris Nanos with the Pima County Sheriff's Department. Now, what does this mean? Either the glove was completely unrelated to Nancy's disappearance at all, or it could have belonged to someone who did have something to do with.
I do think that one was completely unrelated. Yeah, Matt is delightful. I love how it's just quick and dirty, gets in there. All right, it's I believe, and I'm going to tell you right now, I believe it's unrelated. I don't think that glove would have still been out there from 2 weeks ago. Okay, but they did say they found one in or around the house, and I'm going to have hope that somebody's DNA is going to come back that is connected to this. All right, what's up, Casey? How you doing? Scratch that paint. You're welcome for the membership. Whoever gifted that, thank you. All right.
Nancy's disappearance, who has never been arrested and therefore would not be in the CODIS database. Now, realistically speaking, given how common black gloves are, I'm personally not surprised by this. I think that it's possible and most likely that the glove has nothing to do with Nancy's disappearance. The odds of someone committing a crime and just tossing their glove out the side of their car or throwing it in a field, dropping it, losing it, is just so slim. Sheriff Chris Nanos confirmed that even though this glove did not provide a breakthrough in this case, there was still DNA collected from Nancy's home that is still being analyzed, and that DNA does not match the DNA on this glove. And as I've been saying, the way that law enforcement has been speaking, it seems as if they know exactly who this is standing at Nancy's front door. And I do believe that they are waiting on forensics in order to actually have probable cause to arrest this person and really look into them and their purchases and so on. Now, last week, there was a lot of talk about this blue LL Bean shirt outside of Nancy Guthrie's home on rocks. Sheriff Nanos did say that this shirt is irrelevant to Nancy's kidnapper / suspect. He says, quote, that shirt was used by USBP K9 and was left behind by them. Once we were notified, we retrieved it and verified that it was left by them. So U.S. Border Patrol is
and I think the same thing with the glove, guys. People aren't going to go out there and do that. They're not going to go out there and just throw a freaking glove that's connected or drop it. So I do think it's just completely out of the way. But let's get the other one. I'm glad they got that shirt out of the way. Holly, I got to still send you that flyer with the info for Crime Con, baby. You guys all better come. All better come. Crime Con's in Las Vegas this year, 2026. Did Savannah Guthrie write a book of Nancy Guthrie getting kidnapped? I don't think so, Robert. Did anybody hear that? LA Designs, member for 11 months. Thank you. Tiff is here? Where you at, Tiff? All right, let's continue. We got a lot today.
Leaving shirts at the scene. Searchers are leaving their gloves outside, throwing them outside on the ground. This is crazy. Of course, as more updates come out, I will be sure to share with you guys. What's your thought process on everything that's going on right now? Let me know in the comments. Hey guys, so we are finding out today that the unknown.
All right, so we're done with that. Let me come here real quick. I'm just going to go over Let's go over this quick. Let's pull this down and try to stay in order because I really want to show you this from Pima County. I mean, it's been pretty useless. Now, today's the 17th. All of the clips that I played you earlier came from later in the day, late on the 16th or on the 17th. So this actual statement from Barney Fife came out. Sheriff Chris Nanos on the Nancy Guthrie investigation. He says, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in the case. But we just heard him a little while ago saying nobody's been cleared. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious, and our victims. To suggest otherwise would be wrong. It is cruel. The Guthrie families are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report some of the sense of compassion and professionalism. I agree with that. But you, sir, should also be professional, Mr. Chris Nanos, and stick to what you're saying. So when we go up here, we go a little more, and we've got a couple of 6 hours ago, Pima County's not going to have a press conference after all. Should a development occur, then they'll have one. Then 6 hours DNA evidence from the gloves found 2 miles from Nancy's was submitted to CODIS and produced with no matches. There is additional DNA evidence that was found at the residence that's also being analyzed. Okay, the DNA was submitted from the set of gloves found 2 miles away. It did not trigger a match in CODIS and did not match DNA found at the property. The DNA found at the property is now being analyzed, and further testing needs to be done as part of the investigation. This is all Pima County. Again, we know that Nancy Guthrie's been missing since January 31st. If you guys have this, it's $100,000 reward now. If you're local and you have a tip or you know somebody, please pass this around. We want Nancy Guthrie to come home. Right? We wouldn't want that to happen to our mom or our parents. So let's bring her home. Yeah, I agree. I hope this case gets solved, guys. What's up, Paige? They keep saying a robbery gone wrong. Who goes to a robbery with a full backpack and then who does a kidnapping and doesn't leave a ransom note for almost 2 days, and then when they do respond back, it's almost 24 to 48 hours. Yeah, the FBI is not going to say anything. The FBI is already, in my opinion, trying to clean up their mess. They don't know, Marianne, and they're not telling us much. I can't help but think that someone works at TMZ. That's interesting because people were trying to insinuate that. They were trying to insinuate that the possible letter at TMZ. Hold on. Sorry about that. I did not want to do that to you. They were trying to insinuate that, but actually we didn't even get into that. So let's do that real quick. I just want you to know what happened and what they're doing next. There's another letter that came in. Again, I did hear speculation. I absolutely heard speculation, guys. I gotta go to my downloads instead. But was this one? Yeah, this is the huge development. No, this is not the one I wanted. Hold on. Is this the one I wanted about the ransom? I just want you to know about the new ransom. They just received a 4th letter with a note to the sender, and this is how they're going to start handling it. And then we're going to hop back to the sketch artist and to Sheriff Barney Fife that thinks he's setting the record straight. And again, for the 4th time now, he's changes his verbiage. He says something different. Makes no sense. And people do keep asking, why are they doing that to TMZ?
It is Monday morning. We have received a 4th letter from the same person who says that he knows where Nancy.
And obviously this was yesterday, so I was waiting everything to roll out. Now TMZ is real, and the reason TMZ has been involved in these cases lately is because TMZ is mostly catered towards like gossip and rumors of Hollywood people and people that are in, the movies. And Savannah Guthrie is the Today Show host. Again, that's why they're covering the David case. That's why they're covering the Diddy case and all of those. Once we get back to our normal schedule, we probably won't see TMZ too much mixed in it, but I'm not sure. And you're right. It doesn't matter if it's $200,000 reward. It's well known that no one ever collects it. I hope that. But listen to what he says about this, though. What they're going to do now.
Guthrie is, and he wants money in return for the information. Essentially, he wants the reward. So I have something to say to you. And I've already talked to the FBI about this, that if you are not real, you're committing a crime. And you should know that. And this is a serious federal crime. If you are real, this is the fourth letter you've sent. And I should tell everybody that in this letter, it says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up. So I know who he is. And that was definitely Nancy with them. This is the second time he has referred to more than one person involved in this. He said there is a main person and there are others, and he said it here. He is saying that Nancy was taken to Mexico. Now, this is what he's saying. I'm not going to vouch for him, but this is the fourth letter. We have sent them all on to the FBI. And he also says one of the reasons he's worried about coming forward is he has a record. He has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago. So I don't know if you're real or not, if you're watching this, but if you are, and I have told the FBI that we're going to do this, they know this, that if you're worried about getting this money and you really do have this information, send it to us. You're sending us these letters. Send it to us. We will forward it to the FBI. And that way there's a record that we have that you supplied this information. If they find her and they find the kidnapper, then at least there is.
I think these are email. Now I'm going to speculate on this because I heard a whole conversation about it, and people were asking, do they think the ransom letters are an actual letter or they sent via email? And I absolutely believe that they're via email and they can absolutely trace them. And I think FBI is working on the trace. I would hope TMZ has handed everything over by now. All right. And Robert, if you want to ask a question, you could just put QQQ. Jay, I would not leave my house until my mom was found and the Guthrie left their house. What is wrong with that, fam? I know. I thought you were saying I wouldn't leave my house until my mom was found. What you meant to say was you wouldn't dip out on the house, but you'd be out there searching until she was brought home. That's how I take what you're saying, because I wouldn't either. There's no way, no how I would just go disappear. And you got to remember the odd thing about this, guys, law enforcement is telling us and the people in the neighborhood that they have nothing to worry about. They're safe. How can they be so sure they're safe if they don't know who it is? All right. And that's what they say. TMZ already knows who's sending letters. They say FBI does too.
Evidence, because we have it, that you're the one who provided the information. So this is a way for you to get that money if this really is legitimate. Send us the information. We will pass it on to the FBI. Okay, that said, a couple of points. One is the glove. I hope that glove has DNA that leads authorities to this kidnapper. But it is weird to me because if somebody is at that house and they take Nancy and they get in a car to drive off, the first thing they're going to do is take the gloves off because it's real hard to drive with gloves like that. And if the gloves go off and they're placed in the car.
I mean, I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't go all that far. You can drive with gloves on. They probably did take them off before, but that's a little bit of a far stretch, mister. You do need a little bit more sleep there, buddy. And Maggie, do you find it weird that the kidnappers want? Yeah, 110%. That's another anomaly, Maggie. Usually it's very hush-hush. Not usually. Every time there's been a kidnapping of this sort, it's hush hush. Now it will come out later that somebody kidnapped somebody and they didn't want it to leak. They said if it gets out to the news or law enforcement, they're going to kill the person they kidnapped. It's very, very rare. But you know who else did that? Israel Keys did that, and it's just because he wanted the money. His hostage situation was already dead. So it's very, very, very much another anomaly in this case. And that's why I don't believe it to be true. All right. At all whatsoever.
How does it end up 2 miles away on the side of the road? It just is weird. It just is OJ-esque and doesn't make sense. And the other thing is that, you know, there are different theories here about, was this a burglary? Was this a ransom? As you know, we and several others have received ransom notes, and the FBI is keenly interested in these notes. I can tell you that. This seems a weird type of burglary because if it were a burglary, number one, why would somebody be dressed head to toe that way? And number two, if it's a burglary and somebody wants to go in and root around for jewelry or whatever, it would seem to be difficult opening drawers and grabbing things with gloves like that. And if you take the gloves off, then you're going to put your fingerprints on something. So what's the point of gloves in the first place? So this does not feel like a burglary. Somebody dressed head to toe.
Yeah, I mean, even the way that person came in doesn't feel like a burglary. You're not going to go in with a full backpack. You're going to go in with an empty backpack so you can take the stuff out. What I perceive that full backpack as was a kit. With tape, maybe a rope, maybe tools if you didn't know how to get in. The DNA in the gloves was no match. Is anyone surprised? Absolutely not. My girl Melissa just came in the house. She says, "Who's Crime Con?" We're going to Crime Con, Melissa. I hope you're on board. Melissa's coming to Crime Con. Patricia, NYC, are you in? I gotta message you, by the way, and thank you so much. I do appreciate you. Justice for Alyssa, but that is because she wants justice for her daughter. Her name is Melissa. Thank you, Melissa, and please welcome her. She is going to go to Crime Con in Vegas, aren't you? Wink, wink. All right. Anyway, thank you so much, my friend. I do appreciate you. No worries about the typo. We understand. I work all day too. I work 8 hours a day and then I come on here. So my brain gets a little like that too. All right. So it's all good. Patricia is here and Patricia's throwing us a party at the Bellagio in Las Vegas. We cannot wait. I can't wait I'm ready to party too with all of y'all. I hope you guys are all there because, oh my God, I'm going to take as many naps as I can and get ready for this old lady to go party with the crime crew. All right, Indy. All right, let's keep going. I hope everyone's doing good. Circus buffet in Vegas. No, we're doing the Bellagio, baby. Yes, we get to meet live. It's going to be so awesome. I'm so excited. All right, back to this. Anyway, distractions. Thank you, Melissa. Justice for Alyssa, for sure. All right.
With gloves like that. And if it were a burglary, you know, the easiest thing to do, if they knew anything about Nancy, is she goes to church. They could have just gone in on Sunday morning when she was at church. So this just doesn't feel like a burglary. That's my opinion. That is not fact. I have talked to one law enforcement source who is like-minded in that. But I want to end by repeating that if the person who has sent us these 4 demand letters is real, and I'm questioning whether you are.
Yeah, because now we're on a whole new track, guys. All right. You're in Vegas for Halloween. I love Bellagio. That means you're coming, right, Melissa? Okay, yeah, I just heard you say yeah. And Clara's gonna be there. Jamie better come. Maggie. All right, you can't be at their party. Okay, so listen, guys. This is crazy because I didn't even know that Brian Enton also got a quick interview with the sheriff, and he got an interview with the sheriff the same day that is this guy's name Justin from Arizona? You remember the guy that covered the Lori Vallow case? Anyway, we're gonna get to that next so that we can bash him after that because he just what he says he keeps changing it.
But if you are, then send us the information. We will immediately pass it on to the FBI. And then you have a record that you're the one, if it's legit, who led them to Nancy and the kidnappers, and that will help you get the money.
Right? If you really need the money that bad, just freaking go tell them where she is. Why would you even hold back on something like that? All right, let's check this out. We're gonna listen. We got two things, and then boy, do we have a lot. All right, so look, I didn't even know this. He's wearing the same shirt that he does an interview in a bit with Justin. Brian Enton's in the house. The reason I follow Brian Enton is because he's out there and he's up to date, right? He does more than he does like he's like JLR, but he documents much better. Be listening. Glad to make it here. Glad you're here, Melissa. Good to see you. I know you're probably working. Get back to work, girl. All right. Let's they ain't getting the money. I know they probably aren't. Sheriff Nanos is also dispelling speculation about the business card pictured in a door from an agent or Arizona's really. Yeah, I did see the adult protective services. I wonder what that's about. All right. You think Ashley Banfield's backtracking now too? I don't know if she's backtracking. All right, let's take a look at this real quick. I was covering Ashley and I didn't feel like she was backtracking, but maybe I missed something. All right, so Brian sat down with Barney Fife an hour ago. Let's listen to what he says. I didn't even hear this yet. I didn't even know. Or is it not? Is it just a picture? I've got an interview, so don't worry. Just sit down with Pima County Sheriff. He says they still don't have the video from Nancy's other cameras in its hands. It's in the hands of Google. Oh, so he didn't talk to him. Okay, but I do have an interview, and he's wearing that same shirt from today. All right, so good for you, Brian Enton. As suspected, they'll investigate. Now, listen. The black glove or gloves that didn't match, they're going to do the genetic genealogy in the case, like what helped to catch Koberger. So hopefully they find something. 4 hours ago, two men showed up at Nancy Guthrie's house. Deputies let them through. One had a briefcase. So he's been outside. If you guys, I don't know if you've been watching this or JLR, right? Kind of keep us up to date. Two men. One in a pickup truck and a Subaru, had a briefcase. They were at her house. So it seems like, less and less movements going on. And now we get to watch Barney Fife. I have to play this video before I get into anything else, just because I'm making a point here. All right. Justin Lum.
With this investigation so fluid. But I want to go back a little bit early on. You said your gut told you that Nancy was taken from her home and that she is still alive at that time. What does your gut tell you now about the entry to the home? And was there forced entry? Or did she know the person that took her? What do you think now?
Okay, so I'm not going to get into the entry of the home or forced entry or any of that. What I'll tell you is,
I wonder why he's not getting into the entry of the home, because there was no forced entry and the back door was left open. It was almost like it was staged. All right. It was like someone went into the garage, had the code, and then just walked out the back door. But remember, there was blood at the front door. There was blood drops, and they're now saying they think she might have had a bloody nose. Did anybody else remember that picture with Savannah and Nancy? I didn't even notice that her arm was purple. Did anybody see that? You saw that, Jay. I mean, Mab, right? Mab, did you see her arm? And thank you so much, Krista. She says, great job, Jay. Mab, did you see the picture with Nancy and Savannah? And they're all smiling, and Nancy's arm was purple, guys. You saw that? I didn't notice that. So any of that could have been, that's not good. She could have got a little scratch, and it could have, but I think it was a bloody nose. I didn't realize how bad. I'm glad you guys saw that, because for some reason I missed it. And I do have day 17 on here. Secrets are mute point. It's going cold. It better not go cold. Yeah, the blood thinner. All right, let's listen to this guy. I have so much on this case. I could be here for hours.
I believe, just as I had initially, that Nancy was removed from that home against her will. She was kidnapped, and we still believe that.
how do you piece together the 40 minutes inside that home, you know, after the doorbell camera disconnected? I mean, really no idea still.
There's all kinds of thinking on that and theories. And to be honest, you don't want the sheriff's theories.
Yeah.
You want the investigators, because they're the ones who actually physically know the evidence, what they've collected.
This guy is so evasive. It's bad. I hope he retires after this, right? I don't like people getting in trouble, but this is the most evasive guy, and he doesn't even remember what he says. I think that's why he doesn't want to answer, because he's like, yeah, it's what I said at the beginning. But sir, you said 3 or 4 different things at the beginning, and you have switched it up. So which one is it?
Gathered that crime scene. They were there. They're doing all the interviews. You know, I have a team of young men and women who do this every day. I hear the pundits that, oh, the crime scene should have been done, should have been held longer. Look, this team of mine has done this type of investigation, homicides, for example, for decades. They have one of the highest solvency clearance rates in the country. Sometimes they get that case that you think will never be solved done in a day. They're very good. They're very well trained. They know what they're doing. I don't go and tell them, okay, we've been here long enough, let's go home. They spend over 20 hours at that scene processing it. They, along with forensic techs who are trained, process these things. Then they decide that they're done. They came here with all of their evidence. Some of the evidence we gave to the FBI. Why did we do that? Well, because we know the FBI is good with certain pieces of evidence. They have the technological skills to deal with things like cameras and phones and different. And we handed that to them. Ransom notes, gave them to the FBI. We use a lab that we've used again for decades for DNA. We submitted all of our biological evidence to that lab.
So what he's trying to tell you, I mean, in this interview, what it is called, just so you guys can kind of get an idea. He's not super clear. He's very evasive. Sheriffs tries to set the record straight on FBI evidence and rumors. Now you got to remember the rumors were that they completely blocked FBI from the gloves and took them away and shipped them off to their own private lab. He's saying that's not true. All right, that's what he's trying to say anyway.
Can you stand by that lab? And was there any pushback by the FBI on that?
No, absolutely not. No, in fact, that's the point is FBI, the reason the FBI was part of this investigation immediately is we have members of our organization working with the FBI assigned to their building and have for decades. And they're the same here. So they were never not a part of this investigation. They were always a part of it. And to suggest that the sheriff blocked evidence, that's just crazy. We processed that scene. We went out and did a search warrant in Rio Rico, processed that scene.
So you see, he's defending himself against blocking FBI for the results. He's saying that's ridiculous. But you guys know on Friday or Thursday when we left off, there was a huge clash between the FBI and the sheriff. So he's trying to make it sound better. Now, no DNA results doesn't mean the case went cold. The DNA results just meant that there was no DNA results that came back and went into the CODIS system that matched. Now, CODIS is a system now that they make everybody do. So if I was to go speed and go 150 miles an hour, they would arrest me right now and they would automatically, now they do that, right? They put your DNA and they do all that and you get it in CODIS. That doesn't mean that the case is cold. It just means it didn't match to somebody that has a history of crime. That's all it means. That doesn't mean, but it doesn't mean it's closed at all. Right? Why were the pool guys there? No, to clean the pool? I don't know. All right, let's continue.
And the FBI found a glove. Hey, Sheriff, we're going to send this to Quantico and we'll check on DNA. I said, well, why do that? All of our DNA, all of it is at our lab. We'll just send it to ours. They said, makes sense. Thanks, Sheriff. That quick. There's no argument or discussion. It's just about keeping your evidence together. Let one lab deal with it. But that's not a slap at the lab we used or the lab the FBI used. FBI, we've used their labs before. They're very good. Our lab is very good.
He's lying.
It was never a discussion about the sheriff blocking evidence and not getting along with the FBI. We've always had a great working relationship.
What did we learn now about the glove, the DNA profile on that glove
came back, I think, either late last night or early this morning. The DNA came back. It was submitted into CODIS, and we have no hits in CODIS.
I mean, this was a key piece of evidence. A lot of people, the public waiting for that answer. Now, what's next? Do you go the
We have
genetic
more
genealogy route?
Well, absolutely, you do that, but we have other DNA evidence from the scene.
Okay, so that's what he's trying to tell us. There's other DNA evidence, folks, and it's also going to go into the genetic genealogy. So we're not technically screwed, so to speak, because that can match to anybody that is not a criminal or what. And it could be an uncle or an aunt or a grandma, and they can trace it back. Everything he's saying, do I believe? No, not at all. But I like to hear what he's saying because then we can match it up. Also, I don't think her mom Ubered home. I think she Ubered to her house. And now rumor has it that she Ubered because she was drinking. I heard that that was the excuse. I heard that she didn't Uber home, she Ubered to Annie's, and I heard the reason that she had Ubered to Annie's was because they were already drinking alcohol and they had that family get together, and so they didn't want to drink and drive. Again, that's a rumor. I don't know. That's the only thing I can really think of that would be an excuse, but still. All right.
That is more critical to me than something found 2 miles away. All of that, though, will still be submitted for further analysis. That's, you take a fingerprint and you hope to match it right away, but that's not that easy. You have to have so many points of characteristics that match on that fingerprint. DNA is no different. You have to have the DNA, have to have so many hits of lodi to make a comparative match. All of those things. Sometimes DNA is mixed. We have DNA from that scene that is a mixture of DNAs. So we have to separate, hope the lab can do that and still preserve some of that evidence in case the defense wants to test it. Should we make an arrest? All of those things are considered. It is truly a complex process in gathering that evidence, submitting it, analyzing it, and then resubmitting it. So yes, you're correct. The next step of DNA for those pieces would be to submit for genealogy.
Okay, that's a big step there.
So that's where we're gonna go. It's go to genealogy again. He's not really giving us much. This case is weird, very weird. I'm not sure. That was just what I remember. Remember when cases were solved without DNA? I do remember that. I know, and nobody stepped in the blood. We didn't see any blood drops. And yes, they used to solve crimes without. Wait. How about this? Do you remember when they used to solve crimes without DNA and cameras? When they didn't have dash cams, Nest cams, Ring cams, and every cam in the world? What's up, Casey Case? How you doing, my friend? Why aren't they showing her in the last few days before her disappearance so we can see her condition? I know, that's what I would like to see too. They're not. Maybe they didn't have film of her. Maybe they didn't have they just had stills. Who knows?
What about the sample inside the home? What's the status of those results of testing?
It's the same thing. I prioritize the home. That's our crime scene, well above anything found 2, 3, 4, 5 miles away.
Yes.
And we still have work to do there too.
Okay. It seems, Sheriff, that the department is almost like drowning in data. You have investigators that receive 40,000 to 50,000 tips at times, 5,000 an hour between you and the FBI. I mean, logistically, how does an agency decide, even with the FBI's help, effectively sift through that volume and make sure that
he's like, we don't, but I'm going to give you some kind of answer anyway.
The golden tip doesn't fall through the cracks?
Well, you have, first of all, there are resources out there that will collect that data and sort through it for you and put it and prioritize it however you want it to be prioritized. Those programs exist. We know that, and we utilize them. But we take all of those leads, and a level 1 lead might be higher priority than a level 4 lead. Example of a level 1 lead would be that video, the door camera video. It's a big lead. A level 4 lead might be, hey, I was asleep last night and I dreamed of aliens coming down to Earth. We're not gonna diminish that.
Is that really what come on, sir. You guys just wait until next. I had some other clips, but guys, this one's too good not to. Megyn Kelly's gonna fire back at who she calls Fredo or Como and bring facts on the sheriff's past in the Guthrie family comments. This is too good to pass up after listening to this guy just tell us about aliens and like we're watching a movie and it's folding before our very eyes. No, it's not, sir. You're supposed to be out there leading and following this case. This is not his only interview today. We saw him sit down with Brian Enton, and then he also sat down with the Arizona news lady that's been coming up and doing the Lori Vallow interviews.
Lead and say, oh, don't bother us with that stuff. Send it to us. Because if I say, don't send me that one, what does that tell the community? I don't want to bother that department. I don't want to bother them with this. This isn't that big. No, send them in. We will sort through the 30, 40,000 leads. It's when you stop getting those leads and you've ran out of leads, that's when your case has gone cold.
So you're saying bring it on.
Bring it on. We're prepared to deal with it.
This goes with your coming off your statement yesterday. It was a big statement, because as recently as this past weekend, and even the press conference, that you said that everyone is on the table, everyone's being questioned. Now you've officially cleared the family of Nancy Guthrie as suspect.
And this is what I want to hear. Let's hear his answer now. And again, this is all today. Okay, this is all today, and I've got a lot to go through still. Tiff Knox, Joanne says, I need to put my boots on for all the shit. You didn't say that, but you say he's full of ish and I can smell him from here. Oh, just wait. I wanted to have him shut up and go to the next thing, but I really want you guys to get the full effect of his BS. So later on, you can say, man, that guy really doesn't give us any answers. He's evasive in the answers he does give us. He changes his mind. He flip-flops. All right. I need to wash my hair or clean the bathroom while this fool talks. You guys want me to turn this off? I feel like everybody. Well, let's listen. Let's listen to what he says about the you guys are killing me. What he says about the family being cleared, and then I'm going to show you Nancy. We're going to go back to the basics real quick so you guys can see the developments from when it started to today. Oh, I don't want to make you guys get your shit kicking boots out. I'm sorry.
You called them victims in this case. What specific piece of evidence changed between this weekend and Monday that allowed you to officially rule them out, or were they ruled out a while ago?
They've been ruled out a while ago. Here's the thing for that, and the reason you probably saw my remarks, and they were a little terse. Look, you just as I stepped up, see, when we had our last press conference, I told you wouldn't be hearing from us for press conference. We're just not going to hold press conferences. What we would tell you is,
wait, did he just answer that? Because he's not. Because he's saying we're not going to do a press conference, but and then now he's talking. Okay, that's what he just said. He didn't answer. Are they cleared, sir? That's what we need to know. Thank you. I love your channel, and everyone here seems cool. Love you all. I hope that you hit that like button and subscribe to all notifications. All right, because he still didn't answer the question that was asked.
As we get information, we'll put it out, and that has happened. But when I have media, social media, news media, putting a wedge between two agencies, the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff's Department, two agencies that consider each other viable to their existence, to be able to solve crimes, we need the FBI. The FBI needs the Sheriff's Department. When this case is all gone, there's still going to be the Sheriff's Department and the FBI. When you try to separate that, you're not just hurting those agencies, you're hurting my community. And I'm not going to stand here and let anybody say, oh, the sheriff has a bad relationship or the sheriff blocked the evidence from the FBI. That is so far from the truth. Just as I'm not going to let him.
So all he does is care about himself right now, and he's trying to straighten things out that he did not, in fact, cock block the FBI. But, sir, Justin Lim just asked you a question about the family and if they're cleared. That's what we need to know, right? So can we get to this, or are you going to answer it? No?
Anybody sit there and say mean things about our victims.
And guys, I agree. And I told you that everybody is a victim that's connected to the case. If your mom or your aunt or your uncle or whoever is not alive anymore, or somebody kidnaps them, you're also a victim of that crime. All right. But what is he saying? He still answer us, dude.
We're cops. Sorry, I know I'm a politician. I suck at that. I'm not a good politician. That's okay.
No, you're not.
One thing. I've been
You're not
a
a good sheriff either.
And I know a cop's job.
He's a cop for 50 years. I thought he was a sheriff.
One of those, the main job is to do what?
Everyone else is fun.
Protect those victims out there who have no voice, who expect somebody to stand up for them. When you say, look, this family is hurting. to say the things that have been said about them and even to speculate, I'm sorry, that's just wrong. We're human beings. We're supposed to be better than that.
Staying on this topic,
Well, listen, sir, you still didn't say you cleared them. And here's the problem is that was the last person that was seen with, and everyone's saying seen with Nancy Guthrie. Okay, so of course we're going to speculate about it, but again, he didn't answer. And you know what, Leon, I think we answered that last, and I'll answer it again real quick. And only because I know that my mother, that just happened to my mom's friend about a month or two ago, Mom, her friend's husband went for a walk in the morning and he never came back. They couldn't find him, and it happened to be they found him later on in the day. He had got hit by a car and thrown off into the side where they couldn't find him. So yes, that could have happened, but had that happened, someone would have found her body by now. So I hope that helps. All right. Cock blocking the FBI like a mofo. All right, let's continue. We're almost done with this,
you
guys.
called the suspicion toward the family cruel and wrong, going through your statement. But your department did conduct multiple searches. I know you're doing your job at Annie Guthrie's house, at Nancy Guthrie's house. There was some focus initially about the son-in-law dropping Nancy off, and then it changed to the family.
But isn't that the natural progression of any investigation?
Yeah.
Is to go and see, okay, who last saw our victim? Who is it that talked to him? What do they know about him? And when did they last see him? And naturally, you're looking into that.
Understood.
I think the family knows that. But my goodness, at some point in time, when we've done all this family has cooperated 100%, 100%, everything we've asked for them, everything, their cars, their phones, their computers, their statements, they are victims.
Do you acknowledge that, those actions, part of that investigative process sort of created those optics that you see in the media, or is this social media's fault? YouTubers, true crime pundits.
It's everybody's fault.
Transparency, particularly from law.
It's everybody's fault except for his. And he's telling us about transparency, but he's given us zero transparency on anything. And you guys got to admit, if you have a conversation later and you continue watching this, all good. He did not answer if the family has been cleared. He made one statement and they put it all over the media. And then we saw him backtracking, not twice, but 3 times now. Is the family cleared or not? I'm going to have to say no, not. Especially when we have a new arrest by Kayla Day that's possibly allegedly a niece of Savannah. That's a family member, sir.
I think you go back a couple of years ago, George Floyd. There was a great demand for it.
Now he's talking about George Floyd. What does this have to do with it? What?
I'm now seeing transparency take a different turn. And in my mind, I kind of go, wow, no wonder so many chiefs or sheriffs hid from the cameras, didn't want to face that scrutiny. Transparency is not only good, it's needed, but there has to be a balance.
No kidding, dude.
Transparency goes that people understand that there still is a criminal investigation, that criminal investigation touches people's lives, could mean people's lives, and that transparency is set up so that we can have communication with our community to give us leads and tips on things that might be critical to us. But I can't share the whole case with them. I can't just open up the doors and say, here it is. You guys know. It is really about, for me, you have to be, look, throw your rocks at the sheriff. Make the politics what they are. The sheriff's a bad sheriff. Good, do all that white noise back here, because that's all it is to me. But you cannot attack my victims, and you cannot put a wedge between agencies that are working hard 24/7 to solve a case.
I don't think that we put a wedge. I think that they put a wedge when, number one, they didn't secure the scene. Number two, it was clear that people were reporting on the fact that they cock blocked them on the gloves, right? Yeah, Clementine, you're right. You're right. He's straight up gaslighting us. He's not answering anything. He said nothing clear, and he's changed his story several times. So this guy, I think the FBI is going to have to really come in and save the day here. And someone said something about Happy Guthrie PSYOP Day. I'd have to agree. I'm going to go back to the basics for a minute when we get done with this, because it's too good not to.
this is two-parted, but it's been 16 days. There's been 4 ransom demands at least. At what point does it stop being a rescue and become a recovery mission? And can you finish off by addressing the camera and giving your message to the person or persons responsible for Nancy's abduction?
Your question really is on, again, the sheriff's belief from day one.
Let's see if he answers it again. We only got another minute or so. We got like 48 seconds for him to answer. Is it a body recovery now, or are you not going to answer us either?
That Nancy's still here. You have no proof. Nobody does that she's not, that she's deceased. They ask me, do I have proof of life? I ask them, is there proof of death? I'm going to have that faith. And sometimes that faith, that hope is all we have. My team, 400 people out there in the field today, woke up this morning and went out there with the hope and the belief that they're going to find Nancy. And
He
she's going to be okay.
sucks, guys.
My
This
family
is
has
not
that hope and
good.
belief. I'm not crushing that. We're going to continue working this case every minute of every day. And we will find her. And we will find
Every minute of every day, guys, except for when he has to go to watch a basketball game after a funeral, because that's important. Now I want to hop into this that just came out hours ago, so you can see Megyn Kelly's going to fire back at Fredo, Chris Como, and then we talk about the sheriff's past. We got 10 minutes about the Guthrie case on here, and it's too good not to. Then we're going to go back to some of the basics so I can show you everything that happened today, where we are. All right. And I do love that she just came out with a bizarre kidnapping story, which I believe is actually bizarre and wasn't a kidnapping at all to begin with. And I don't think that it's the same people sending TMZ those letters. I think there could possibly be 2 or 3 different people. Yeah, the basketball game thing was ridiculous, but you know what he said, Tiff, in defense for himself? He said that the day before this case ended, or started, I'm sorry, that he had a family member take their own life. So he entered the basketball game and he screwed up the case because of that. Why didn't they just not put him on the case? I'm not sure. All right, let's continue. This just came out hours ago. There's another one that came out an hour ago, but there's so much today. We're already at 1 hour and 35 minutes, and I just feel like I got started. All right, listen up. Good to see everybody. Hit that like button. Share this. Hype it if you can later. Appreciate it. Love you guys. Thank you. I'm going to make sure gifted memberships are on because I'm about to gift y'all a membership, okay? All right, thanks.
According to Matt Finn of Fox News, Matt reports, quote, I just asked Sheriff Nanos if DNA helped clear the Guthrie family from being suspects. He says, quote, not going there. They are victims, and I will not stand quiet when they are re-victimized. It is not just my duty. It is every cop's duty to stand up and be the voice for victims. What? Enter Tom Winter of NBC News.
I'm sorry. This is why I like Megyn Kelly, because that is my exact response. What? You what? Okay, let's continue. I don't want to stop a whole bunch. Reason 999 so why he is doing a list job. What? And it is a sad case. And the only reason I'm laughing is because you gotta find the light sometimes when you do this every single day, right? So I'm sorry. Krista said I had to buy one. I couldn't get it gifted if my life. I know. I tried, Krista. I tried. I did. All right. Say what? All right. Let's continue. I'm gonna gift you guys a membership. Make sure your membership gifting's on. Okay. All right. I'm sorry.
News, who reports it explicitly, quote, there is no indication this is the result of any new evidence. No indication this is the result of any new evidence whatsoever.
What?
So what happened here quite clearly is the sheriff decided, probably after a phone call from the family, he says he mostly speaks to Savannah, to just say, nobody there is a suspect anymore. When 24 hours earlier, he said no one's been cleared. And that's what we were told by our federal law enforcement source too. No one has been cleared. But magically, over the course of 24 hours, because it's his duty to stand up and be the voice for the victims and will not stand quiet when they are re-victimized, the sheriff finds the wherewithal to say, just no one's a suspect in the family.
Guys, I swear I am not laughing. I'm just laughing because of what she's saying. It's totally true, and it's how I felt all day long. I would use that same word, magically. They're magically no longer suspects. Well, why would you say that, sir? Can you tell me the facts behind it? Well, yeah, I can tell you the facts behind it. One day when there were aliens up top and I saw a UFO, I was also looking for Bigfoot at the same time. And then, oh yeah, we had a press conference, but we're not going to have one today. What's your next question? What? What are you talking about? I do, because it's just, I mean, I feel the same way. That's why I had to come here today. It's just like, what? I'm glad that you guys are laughing with me and not at me, because, all right, let's listen. Sorry. I'm trying to gift a membership and I can't stop laughing because this sheriff just needs to either resign or something.
Okay, maybe that's true. Maybe they're not the prime suspects now. Maybe they're moving away from the family, as NBC reported yesterday. But it's diametrically opposed to what both the sheriff said 24 hours earlier and what my sources said within hours of our reporting yesterday. Okay, so something's off. And we don't do feelings in a criminal investigation. We don't do feelings. We do facts. Okay, that's how it's supposed to work. And the sheriff should know better. It's actually quite interesting now because I'll show you what the douchebag Chris Cuomo is saying. In fact, let's just play it now. It's 52. He's very upset that Ashley Band.
I really can't even believe she called him Chris Cuomo a douchebag, but let's listen to what she has to say, because I mean, this was directly connected to hours ago, the statement that was put out by Sheriff douchebag number 2 and clearing the family. All right. And now we got douchebag number 1, Cuomo. Oh my God.
Field and yours truly have raised questions about the brother-in-law, Ashley's reporting. And based on Ashley's reporting, we've asked questions on this program. And here's Fredo Cuomo on his little known show on News Nation, which has less viewers than I have fingers.
Now, look, I've never heard law enforcement make this kind of a statement during an investigation. And I'm not calling for the family to be removed from suspicion. The job is the job, right? But the job is also, you don't speculate just because you don't care that you're destroying this family, just because it may get you some clicks. But I want to correct something the sheriff said. It's not the media. No one who pays attention to the law or any standard of decency is doing this. What these digital people are doing. It's the digital media. It's those denizens. It's people who get paid for clicks and rage bait. All right? These fugazi, sloppy influencers and would-be sleuths. Right? The truth about whether Nancy Guthrie's family is under scrutiny. She doesn't know a damn thing. The reason the cops are going back to the home is because the police think she did it. Where'd she get that? Bullshit. The video messages from the family are like a movie. It's from Silence of the Lambs. Why are they doing that?
You can't even with their face. And you guys got to see what, I mean, listen here. None of us were doing that for any of that. We legitimately want Nancy Guthrie to be home. And yes, when you see an FBI statement that was out there 20 years ago in Silence of the Lambs, and they used the same verbiage in another in a situation that's kidnapping allegedly, hey, there's a connection. FBI probably wrote it. And I hope one of you guys got a membership. I know rage bait. If anybody's got rage bait, it's him doing that to us. We only have speculation when we all get his silence. Douchebag. Oh my goodness. And it is going to be somebody connected to the family. They've already said that. He's just trying to take the heat off of himself, in my opinion. He's got the family at the tip of his fingers because he's right there. And he probably doesn't want to tell Savannah something that she doesn't want to hear, period.
Okay. So let me tell you what Fredo is really upset about. He has Fredo no Rado. That's his real problem. Nobody watches his show on News Nation, and I mean nobody. And nobody watches his failed podcast either. Nobody watched his Sirius radio show. Nobody watched him on CNN. And therefore, he gets upset at anybody who does well, like our show, which is always one of the top 3 conservative podcasts in the nation. It's currently #1 on Apple. Fredo doesn't like that, okay? Because as I say, Fredo no Rado. So he gets upset and he gets jealous. Sometimes in the past on this show, we've called out Fredo for his terrible behavior, for his bad ratings, for his lies about bumping into people who just happen to be listening to his podcast, because literally nobody does. And Fredo can't take criticism. And I'll tell you something I've never told before. Fredo actually called my lawyer, who he happened to use briefly on a legal matter, and begged the lawyer to get me to stop mentioning him. He didn't want me to attack him because it hurt his little feelings. So now Fredo sees an opportunity to attack yours truly because, of course, we're doing well with this story too, as we do when we do other news, which Fredo can't relate to. So Fredo's upset and Fredo's trying to play the protector.
And by the way, I've been hearing Megyn Kelly get blasted. They're saying she's upset. That she's obsessed with this case and stopped all. It's really kind of hard to have any other coverage when this keeps coming at you, and every second, every hour of the day matters for Nancy Guthrie. I want to cover another case so bad. I have other cases, guys. I want you guys. We need to cover the case of the girl. I can't remember her. The one on the boat. Her brother was recently arrested. He turned himself in. There's so many cases I have lined up for you, and we can't until we can get some solid information. It's hard to jump off of a case like that. Trust me, you guys know I love presenting a case a day.
Of the Guthrie family. Meanwhile, there are a few in news who have done more for the Guthrie family than this show. We have covered this story extensively since it broke because Fredo doesn't understand, but I too am a news woman like Savannah. I too worked at the Today Show like Savannah Guthrie. I too have been the victim of a deranged stalker, which may be one of the possibilities here. Something Fredo doesn't realize we've covered extensively as well on this program. I too know Ashley Banfield extremely well, and she's had extremely solid reporting for 20 years in the crime and other fields as well. And so when she tells me she's got a solid source, I take her very seriously. And I also saw this matter being discussed. Guess where else? On News Nation, all around Fredo. By Elizabeth Vargas, by Jesse Weber, Dan Abrams, who had the show right before Chris Cuomo for years, did a long segment on it with Ashley Banfield. It's all over Fox News. Jesse Waters, Sean Hannity, up and down the lineup, Laura Ingraham, all of them have discussed whether the brother-in-law had anything to do with it, because in an investigation like this, you don't rule out family because of feelings, because of your little feelings, Fredo.
And I think that's really what they're doing. I mean, you got to admit, Savannah is a star. She's the Today Show. She's worth a lot. She has influence, and influence means donations and money, and donations and money over media means a lot. Okay. So I think there's another influence. Also, Anna Kepner needs justice as well. She needs it covered. There's other cases right now that are being, the nastiest of nasty cases are being resolved by plea deals. So many things are going on right now. So hopefully we can get a break soon in the case because we really need that. Savannah has a brand. He is game over. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Celeste, yeah, I mean, all of these people do. Wealthy people hurt. Yeah, they do. They have influence. It is what it is. You can't change that. All right, I'm gonna show you the we're gonna get into the just quickly 2-minute sketch artist. I think it's a terrible sketch. I think that this is gonna be another one of those damn cases like I hope it's not. I hope this is not like the Richard Allen case where we get a hand sketch of a suspect and then it looks completely different, and now we go to court and we got these two. That wasn't him. I mean, it's just bad. This case has been botched, and I'm surprised
because I know you're in the business of protecting your family. Okay, we learned that firsthand during COVID when you put your loser brother on there and ran cover for him, and then ultimately it was one of the things that led to your downfall because you didn't report honestly on his many, many problems during COVID or his many, many problems in grabbing women. And perhaps the reason you chose not to do that is because you yourself were accused of having a Me Too problem, as you well know. Okay, we had the senior executive producer on this program who talked all about you and your behavior in a bar with her. There was another woman at CNN who came forward against you, who did a whole podcast about the discomfort you made her feel. And then there was an anonymous woman who came forward who was the last straw before your firing. So you have a long history, I understand, of running cover for family. That's not what we do here on the actual news. We talk about what the police are doing, and we try to glean where the investigation is going.
Yeah, you can't be biased like that. You got to do your best not to. All right. I don't see the kidnapper feeding her gourmet, and that's what I was saying. Arrow, gourmet meals or not, I don't see them. They really need to bring her home. I don't see them giving her the proper water, the proper medication, or even feeding her every day. She needs to be brought home, and that's what we're here for. And I liked Megan Kelly too, and I like the point that she makes in this because it's a real point. What we're focusing on is just got all shifted just because the sheriff got in his feelings about the case. That's not okay. That's not going to help us bring Nancy Guthrie home. It's not.
And we especially do that when we have a sheriff who repeatedly, when asked whether anyone has been ruled out, says no one's been ruled out.
No one's
Absolutely
been
not.
ruled out.
Not the family. No one's been ruled out. Everyone remains a suspect until we have somebody in handcuffs. That's the way you do it. And you especially do it that way when the sheriff tows the car belonging to the sister and her husband. And impounds it. You do that when the sheriff and the FBI continuously return to the sister and her husband's home, taking pictures in the middle.
Okay, so you guys have to admit that's 100% correct. We have not just been going on speculation of Ashley Banfield, although I did get the source from Ashley Banfield, and I have been following her coverage. I certainly did not use that knowledge based off of nothing. Okay, the reason that I absolutely believe that it's someone connected to a family or a family member is because of what she's saying. They were that back there how many times? 3-4 times, searching the house, doing all that. The most critical person out there. There's reasons for it. I don't think they've released Nancy's car yet either, have they? I haven't seen them release anything yet. They'll be lucky if they get it back at all. So yes, those connections were not just a source. They were there. They did it. They were hiding.
Of the night with the lights off, suggesting there may be something that they need to capture in the same hour of night as Nancy Guthrie went missing from her home. Go back time and time again to search the home and take belongings from the home and take photographs of the home, which is not the crime scene. So this is what a responsible reporter does. What they don't do is stage news. Okay, I need to help you, Fredo, because your little begging to my lawyer to get me to lay off of you didn't work. So this is what you're going to have to deal with. Actual facts when you try to come for yours truly. This is what we don't do. We do cover facts. We do follow leads, but we don't stage news, Fredo. We do not pretend that we are walking out of the basement, our basement during COVID, haven't smelled the fresh air in months when everybody knows you were on the street in an altercation involving your bicycle weeks earlier. Remember this moment on CNN?
All right, here it is. The official reentry from the basement, cleared by CDC. A little sweaty, just worked out, happens. This is what I've been dreaming of, literally for weeks. My wife, she was cleared by the CDC. She doesn't have fever. She doesn't have the symptoms anymore. More than 7 days from quarantine. We're still a little scared, so I'll just give you one of these. 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 Bella has, of course, taken the video. This is the dream. This is for when we go outside. That's what we have to do now, all of us in New York. So anyway, I'm back.
His mask. It was all fake. He'd been on the street. It had made the New York Post, and he humiliated himself. And he continues to.
I love the fact that she's calling him out. And not only is she calling him out, but she's straight up showing the proof. Yeah, we got to break the monotony, but also it's not just her being snarky. She's also telling all of us what I'm trying to portray to you guys, what I'm trying to get across to you guys is Nancy Guthrie's family really cleared? Or was that just a statement by Sheriff Barney Fife to get us off of their back to help his cause, so they're not calling Barney Fife and saying, why is everybody accusing us? Now they gotta hide out because of you. That's what I think, but that's what I'm trying to convey here. All right. All right, we're almost done. And I love my mother too. And I know you do, Leon. My mom's in chat today. Hi, Mom. Love you.
Humiliate himself with his 4 viewers. Envy is a very unattractive thing, Fredo. Work on that. International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There is a never ending.
We're done with that. But I do want to show you that there is evidence. And let's start with this. Because I know you in chat that I pinned up there. You guys, or you keep saying there's no evidence. So I want to go over now. I want to go over everything now that is evidence. All right. So Dee, let's start going over the evidence. First, I'm going to start with the mask real quick. The drawing. I'm sorry. I call it the mask, the sketch artist. It's real quick. Because I don't think it's good, but I also have other evidence that I want you guys to understand. Yeah. Somebody called him Barney Fife, and I thought that was awesome. I don't see arrogance with Megan. I see a confident straight shooter, but yeah, exactly. Oh, Joanne, I love you too. Thank you. Definitely praying for a safe return. All right, let's remove this funny lady that gave me a laugh for a moment or two, and let's bring on some of the real-time evidence that's happening right this very second. Now this came out 3 days ago, but I just want you to see this. I don't agree with it. I'm not sure about it, and I hope they don't come out with a second one that doesn't match it, because that will really mess up the case.
Book of World Records as the most successful sketch artist. She also spent 4 decades employed with the Houston Police Department before retiring in 2021.
And now she's using her skill to help identify the masked man seen in that Nancy Guthrie video. Today, our Joel Eisenbaum went to see how she came up with that sketch.
Lois Gibson has had some remarkably close matches over the years. I have witnessed them. She can literally examine a skull and bones and recreate a...
So I do hope that with her credentials, guys, that we're not just looking at this picture and saying this is hogwash. I do hope that somebody recognizes this guy and knows who it is. All right. Yeah, we know his height, but we don't have his face or DNA or any of that. Well, we don't know that we don't have his DNA because we don't know that he's not in, just because he's not in CODIS doesn't mean that he doesn't have a criminal past. Right. Do we still have to listen? No, we're done. We're all done. We're going to keep going. You can fast forward if you're done. We're on. We're moving on.
And now she's using that unique skill to crack one of the biggest capers in recent history.
There were 5,089 cases that I worked.
5,089.
Lois Gibson is already a famous figure in the sketch artist space, retired now, but feeling compelled to use her skills one more time. The mission is to help identify the concealed figure in the riveting Nancy Guthrie case. Gibson pegs this person of interest in this now famous doorbell video as being in their mid-30s or early 40s.
Okay, the eyes, I got the eye shape. I know his eyelids are going to be like that. I have those eyelids.
Gibson is so in tune with her work, she taps not just her 40-plus years of experience, but her own emotional feel. And it so often works.
Look at him. I mean, he's got hair. I saw him walking, and he's got an okay, pretty nice body. I don't like skinny guys.
Which are the points that you have greatest confidence in?
Straight up the middle.
Well, really? Because that's what's visible here.
No, yeah, and that's not a big old nose. Straight up the middle.
No law enforcement agency commissioned Lois Gibson for this work.
Do you think this will go unsolved forever?
No.
That's why I did this. I didn't want it to.
No. This is just what Lois Gibson does. She'll tell you this is her purpose. So how could she not chip in? Joel Eisenbaum, KPRC 2 News.
I really do hope that it turns into a lead. Now, remember, this has been out 3 days. It's been out for 3 days. So I don't know what it's brought forward, but let's get some up to date right now. Live updates right now. Nancy Guthrie live updates. Glove DNA doesn't match anyone in CODIS. Right? We don't really care what the what he says, but the search is still ongoing. That we saw the FBI release this photo, and then I'm gonna hop to the live updates that was updated a minute ago with no. I'll tell you in a second. Let's just run through this. I want to give you guys The real in-time information, right? Y'all remember this. FBI Director Kash Patel released this surveillance footage February 10th, showing potential subject. People are still saying a subject or subjects. All right. Anyone with information is urged to call 911 or their department of Pima 520-351-4900. All right. 3 hours ago, we found out the glove DNA didn't match anyone in CODIS, but don't worry, folks. They're still going to do genetic genealogy, which has a chance to find out. Motive still unknown, the sheriff says, although I believe 110% it's a financial gain, but not in the way that we might think. Police trying to find Nancy Guthrie through her pacemaker signals. I hope you guys heard about that. They haven't come up with anything yet. All right. Glove and DNA doesn't match. Motive still unknown. We don't know exactly what it is, guys, but I'm pretty sure we have a good idea. It's for money, but not ransom money. Something else happened, I believe. All right. 2 men were briefly detained as part of the investigation, and the sheriff has received now over 30,000 tips. Now, 9:48 a.m. I believe this was either this morning or yesterday. They didn't change the date on me here. Let me double check. Yeah, we're still on the same date. Did you guys know that they were doing that? FBI and Pima County Sheriff's Department had brought in drone technology by Parsons Company to locate Nancy Guthrie using signals from her pacemaker. Sources told ABC News the technology called Blue Fly was deployed to aid the search at the beginning of February, according to sources. Obviously, we haven't heard anything. I was hopeful by that, but it didn't do anything. So it can detect the presence of Bluetooth, low energy, and Wi-Fi signals to identify devices present and localize the devices based on signal strength relative to the position of the drone. According to the company's website, Parsons said in the statement to ABC, Bluefly is a Bluetooth and Wi-Fi sensor intended to search and rescue operations in challenging environments. And people were asking over and over, why aren't they looking for her pacemaker? Why aren't they trying to find a signal? Well, they are. I don't think it's helped, but hey, they're also canvassing gun shops in Arizona. They say that they have a list of 40 suspects, which we'll get to, 40 suspects and one gun that they're looking for. All right. I'm not going to read this whole thing, but because I have a whole other one to get to. DNA from the glove, we now know it has to go through genetic genealogy. All right. Let's pull that down and get to the next. I just want to make sure I get everything out there for you all. Give you the complete up to date of what we've been missing the last days that I have not been here. All right. Good to see you all. Do me a favor, leave your DNA on that like button. All right. Subscribe, hit all notifications, get yourself a membership if you can. I appreciate it. And if I missed anything, I didn't. Thank you. All right. What happened to band members? That's interesting because I reported last week that the band members took their social media down, and at least one of them we haven't seen. The other one was released last week. Do you remember the band member? DE got arrested for texting Annie and Tommaso saying, I want my Bitcoin. I'm tired of waiting. We're sick of it. And who bought a large freezer? All right, let's get up. This is the up-to-date. It was updated 5 minutes ago. Let's take a look at this. All right, produced no matches in the FBI's database, but I want to get up to date like right now. And we still have more, so don't go anywhere.
Guthrie's home produced no matches in what's called the CODIS database of the FBI. It comes as the search for Nancy Guthrie enters its 17th day. The sheriff issued a strong statement Monday as well, saying none of the Guthrie family members, including siblings and spouses, are suspects. In the statement, Pima County.
And remember, they're going to repeat this again and again because that one statement that Barney Fife made. All right, Mr. Sheriff Nanos made that one statement, but I want you all to know, and the reason I went so hard on playing his other statements that contradicted himself multiple times. So when people say to you, no, 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 the family's cleared, Sheriff Nano said so. Yeah, he did say so, but he also said other things that contradicted him more times than he said that they were cleared. Okay, so I just want to make sure you guys know that. And thank you guys so much. Yeah, her name's Melissa, by the way, Clark, and I did say thank you. Justice for Alyssa is her daughter, and there's a story with that. It's a true crime case. So anyway, thank you, Melissa. I do appreciate that. All these gloves that were found must be the investigators littering all over town. All right, let's continue. Up to date, very minute. Who's it notified? The daughter. That's what I want to know. But listen, Marta, I learned a little bit more at least. They didn't give the name of the person, but Nancy was supposed to go to a friend's house to watch church service being streamed. She didn't show up to that house, and they contacted the family, and the family contacted law enforcement. All right. But I don't know the friend's name. They did not name that friend.
Sheriff Chris Nanos said, quote, the family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are the victims in this case, adding,
I wonder if gracious means they donated to him. What do y'all think? Just saying. Just saying.
That to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. NBC News Chief Justice and National Affairs correspondent Kelly O'Donnell is with us once again in Tucson, Arizona. Kelly, what more are we learning about that latest news about the DNA found on a glove a couple of miles from Nancy's house?
Well, the snapshot we are getting from investigators is that there's a lot of evidence that they've been dealing with, and a glove and other gloves have been talked about a lot publicly, and they have taken testing of those. They have established DNA profile, and then they've compared it against that database that you referred to, which includes persons all across the country who've been arrested or charged or convicted with a crime. There are differing laws state by state about when someone who's taken into custody must provide their DNA. But it is a vast database, and certainly if there were a criminal history, that would be a good way to identify a potential depositor of that DNA. Then, is it in some way linked to the Guthrie case? That's another big question. So work is being done. There are hundreds of investigators who are on this case working on a stream of different types of approaches. We know, for example, that they have been canvassing gun stores in the area. Why? Because the suspect seen on that doorbell video had a weapon, had a holster that...
Now, if you guys are interested, we've been here for 2 hours, but I still have it queued up for what happened today with the 40 suspects and the gun that they're singling out on the scene today with Brian Etton. So let me know. I mean, we have 202 people in chat. We've been here for 2 hours and 6 minutes. If you still want me to continue, I certainly can. It's hard for me to be gone for days and days and then get everything out. So if you guys want me to keep going, just just put a 1 in chat for me and let me know. All right. Because this is like the very, very, very up to date. And then I'm going to take you back with what happened today. Or you guys know my subject. I love the subject of ballistics and guns and the markings and which gun and what caliber. That's my jam. Right.
Had some interesting identifying markers that authorities are trying to get a better read on. Where was it purchased? What could they learn about that? And doing that kind of legwork that can at times provide real breakthroughs. At this point, there is ongoing work, no big development, but we are told there is DNA material that is not tied to Nancy Guthrie or immediate family members, known persons at the home somewhere. They've not identified where. And that's part of the testing that they're doing as well. Could it be the abductor, or could it be some other person who may have visited the home? Those are the questions they're pursuing. It is
welcome.
an excruciating wait for the family and the community, but the work is going on, and the various investigators we've been in touch with talk about a sense of strong morale among those who are working the case, and the sheriff has talked about a belief that it is solvable. Kate?
Kelly O'Donnell with the latest
I hope
from the
so.
ground in Tucson. Kelly, thank you so much. Let's bring in former FBI special agent and hostage negotiator Chip Massey. Also with us is genetic genealogist and DNA expert Cece Moore.
And again, this is just from, they just updated this minutes ago. So I'm going to go back to the article and give you a few more updates. I'm assuming that this specialist is going to talk about the gloves not matching and what's next. And I hope the hostage negotiator tells us that, because I didn't get to watch this yet. It just came out when I was coming on. This is not an actual hostage situation at all. It doesn't feel like a kidnapping or a hostage situation. I hope he says that, because someone needs to.
Welcome to both of you again. Thanks for being with us. Chip, I'll start with you. First of all, how unusual is it for the sheriff to come out last night and say,
by the way, guys, his name is Chip. Sorry, I don't know why I thought that was funny. All right, Chip, it's your turn. Take the lead. All right, sir. Go ahead, Mr. Chip.
the family are not suspects? Does that typically happen where you eliminate people as suspects?
Oh, absolutely, it does. And I think it's important in this case,
But
Kate,
they do.
because there's so much focus on the family. There's so many people out there. We hear it from the public. You know, they're picking people. They've got their favorites.
Yeah.
That's what's so important here is that now that they're off the board, now America can focus again on what are the facts of this case? What is actually going on? You know, we've got over 30,000 tips in, 30,000 that line. It's remarkable. And what's so great is that this case likely isn't going to be solved by somebody that carries a badge. It's going to be somebody that has a cell phone and a hunch.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Cell phone
Cece,
and
let
a
me bring
hunch.
you in. How big of a setback is it that the DNA recovered on those gloves that Kelly was just talking about 2 miles away from Nancy Guthrie's house? They're telling us, the sheriff is saying, they did not yield matches in the FBI's, what they call CODIS database. Is that a setback? Where do things go next?
Well, it certainly is, just because this is a race against time. So if they had gotten that hit, that would have given them a lead they could follow up on immediately. Instead, now they're going to need to turn to investigative genetic genealogy.
Now, let me tell you something really quick, Christine. The DNA from the glove matched the DNA in Nancy's home. I don't think so. I don't think that glove was connected to the DNA in the house at all whatsoever. So they're going to take the DNA from the glove inside of the house that also doesn't match any family members, and they're going to put that into the genetic genealogy like they did in the Koberger case and the Golden State Killer, and they're going to try to match a person that's tied to whoever did this. All right. And thank you so much. Hold on real quick, because I'm still looking up. I want to find that excerpt about the kidnapping in a book that you said Savannah wrote. Or did you say, I'll look it up. Michelle Ramos, welcome. And thank you so much. Yes, justice for Nancy. If you guys can take a quick second just to throw up your prayer hands or whatever it is you do, and just put a moment of, prayer out for Nancy to be brought home. Thank you. I'm talking to text right now, and it's to the mod squad. Sorry, guys. All right, let's continue. Where are we? Here we go. I'm going to find out.
Technology to identify that DNA contributor. And that could take quite a bit of time, depending on the population group that DNA contributor comes from.
And you know so much about this, Cece. This is your line of work, genetic genealogy. Can you explain a little bit more for our audience who maybe doesn't understand what happens if it gets to that point?
Right. So in the CODIS database, they're looking for an exact match for that individual or a very close family member. With investigative genetic genealogy, we expand that to identify distant relatives. And so we're looking for people who share they're partial matches instead of full matches. So they might share only 1% of their DNA with that unknown individual, but it's a whole network of matches. We're not looking for just one person to help us tell who this individual is. We are working with often a dozen matches, 2-3 dozen matches of second, third, fourth, fifth cousins and beyond. If we get really lucky, we might find a close relative, but that's unusual because we're working with less than 2 million profiles to compare against.
Yeah.
So we're building those family trees, looking for patterns, overlaps, common ancestors ultimately is what we're looking for, because the only reason two people will share a significant amount of DNA, and again, significant to us can be very little, is if they have common ancestors in their family tree. And so if we can identify those common ancestors, we can start piecing together the family tree, ancestor by ancestor, and then reverse engineer the identity of that DNA contributor from that, just from their DNA alone.
Stacey, thank you. Chip, sorry, let me turn back to you. There's been a lot of focus on the DNA, right? We've all been talking about it for days now on that evidence. You say, though, that we should also be paying attention to the window of time that the potential abductor spent inside the house.
Yeah. 41 minutes is unaccounted for. I mean, as far as we know, Kate. So think about that from a standpoint of the guy that we saw at that stoop.
And you know what is interesting? It does look like they were going to knock on the door originally. All right. Annie's a self-proclaimed Wiccan oracle and wrote a book called The Dark Good. I'm sure she had nothing to do with it. Okay, so I know that Annie's a poet and nobody knew it, right? Poet, and we didn't know it. But are you saying that Annie wrote the book or Savannah? Because I'm looking for that, and it's directly saying that it wasn't connected to this, and I'm trying to find it. Anyhow, it does look like that person was about to knock on the door, and then they're like, "Oh, we got to cover it. Oops, didn't cover it all the way. Let me go get some bushes out." Which is odd. And again, they didn't tell us what kind of scene that they found in the house. They said that they think it might be a crime scene, but I think that's because of the blood drops. We don't know. Does anyone know? Am I the only one that doesn't know what happened in the house? Was there a table broken? Was there a struggle? Was something knocked over? I mean, we don't know, right?
That's running right now. He looks non-professional. He looks unsure, indecisive.
Okay.
That man is inside that house for 41 minutes.
Damn.
What if he made a mistake? What if he dropped something? What if he took off his glove?
So he was in there for 41 minutes, you guys. What did he do? Sit down and eat a sandwich? He didn't take anything. So you tell me if that's a robbery gone wrong. You took nothing? You're in this woman's house 41 minutes and you didn't take anything. And that's what we're hearing. Maybe they did take something and law enforcement doesn't want to release that so that they don't get rid of it or, go to a pawn shop. I don't know, but that's an oddly long time.
And touch something in that house. And we do have those prints. What if he left something behind?
Yeah.
41 minutes unaccounted for. And if I was the captor, that would be on my mind.
Stacey, which parts of the residence are you hoping that investigators were able to collect DNA from? Where would it be most helpful?
Yeah, I'm thrilled to hear that they confirmed there was unidentified DNA in that home. I find that much more compelling than the glove that was found 2 miles away. And so I'm hoping that all of that time that was spent in there meant that it would be impossible for this individual not to leave their DNA behind. One thing in particular I thought was interesting was when he was outside the residence, it looked like he may have had a flashlight in his mouth. So when he leaned over to get those flowers and also to try to disable the camera, it's very possible that some saliva landed on the ground below. And so hopefully crime scene investigators were able to collect something like that, because that's a fantastic source of DNA. Also, let me add, it looks like there may have been an altercation based on the fact that Nancy's DNA was blood was found outside, right? And so that could also have produced DNA that.
No, we're almost done with this. I did see that, and I'm looking that it says that was from Savannah's school days. possibly, but I wonder if somebody read the book and used that book that she wrote to maybe reproduce it, because I really don't think Savannah is involved whatsoever. Savannah's biography, kids prank jokes at the aunt's house, kids called Nancy and they said they had been kidnapped by the aunt. Kid joke. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm looking at, and I just didn't. I don't see. I don't know about the connection. Now Annie doesn't have to be, and that was my thing too. That was one of the biggest motives for me, even beside the money, was I felt like the fact that they made her Uber over there, and maybe because they were drinking, but I felt like they kind of feel like oh man, we're close to her. Savannah's out there in New York living the high life, and we got to caretake. And I also watched an episode earlier today, and thank you so much again for Improve Yourself 4850. Please continue. You're the top streamer. Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. I do have to say that I don't even know. I got sidetracked right now about what I was saying. Anyhow, let's finish this up so I can give you the up-to-date stuff, and we still got lots to go. Chat GPT talking about the yeah, I looked it up, and it's talking about a lot of Megyn Kelly coverage, and there's some disturbing things, but I'm just not finding connections. And if I do, I will certainly come out and bring that to you.
They're able to analyze from that individual.
Cece Moore, Chip Massey, great to have you both with us. Thank you so much for.
Bye, Chip. See you later, buddy. You didn't really tell us much, but thank you, sir. All right. Okay, so this was updated 22 minutes ago. Let's just take a look real quick. What we need to know. I'm still not buying this 100%. Guthrie family innocent. Now it's changed to that. Pima County, Arizona Sheriff Chris Nano said yesterday that no family members are considered suspects in the Nancy Guthrie case. I'm not going to sit in silence when others are attacking the innocent. All right. Now, we just heard him say multiple things. Now, guys, the leads have tripled since this case, since the images and videos were let out. It was, I think we had like between 14 and 18,000. And now the sheriff's office and FBI have filled it around 40,000 to 50,000 leads. Not that I believe nanos. Authorities had said they fielded around 30,000 leads. But I've been reading that the more leads have come out from the video footage and images, maybe even possibly the sketch. Testing the gloves, preliminary testing found 2 miles away from Guthrie's home, point to DNA of an unknown male. The gloves appear to match the gloves worn by a person seen in a security video. Again, we don't know about the ones from 2 miles away yet. But nothing matches in CODIS, and we'll see if we can find that. Now, I'm glad Trump weighed in on this because he told the New York Post that he wanted the Justice Department to seek the death penalty if Guthrie were found dead. All right. Now, it isn't clear whether a case against abductors would be brought into federal court, but it is a bit scary to have the president making a statement. If you're the kidnapper out there, and especially and she's still alive, I think you're going to have a big motivator to not want the death penalty and release her. All right. They're not going to get death penalty if they release her, but if she's no longer with us, now the stakes have been upped. All right. Suspect may be wearing a ring in the photo. We kind of saw that, but we're not sure. They also talk about a potential tattoo I saw earlier, but I couldn't see what tattoo they were talking about. They're working on finding, this was 5 hours ago, to find her pacemaker. They're still working with the manufacturer and other experts. After the gloves yielded no hits, investigators turned the DNA at home and to genealogy. So the gloves that are 2 miles away don't seem to be connected, but they're going to test the DNA anyway and see if they can find anything connected to it. He says, to me, the more critical glove than any I found 2 miles away. I'm not dismissing the glove 2 miles away, but I have gloves 5 miles and 10 miles away, so we prioritize. Nanos did not say where in the home the DNA was found. We believe that we may have DNA that there may be our suspect, but we don't know until DNA is separated, sorted out, maybe omitted. They did CODIS, nothing came through, but hopefully genealogy does. All right. And this is all today. 6 hours ago, Sheriff's Department has no new briefings. I think everybody was hoping for a press conference today, and they said there's no briefings for today because they're holding out for a significant development. All right, more than 1,600 tips have come in through local tip line. Now we know it's 50,000 total. Evidence from search warrants executed last week are still being processed. Now remember, they had several search warrants. Evidence from 2 search warrants executed last week in connection with the Guthrie investigation is still being processed. The individuals who were questioned have been released and no arrests have been made, guys. The department said as the investigation continues, you can expect to see similar activity. And to me, that makes sense that they have a list of 40 suspects. The department also has investigators that have now confirmed how many leads are actively pursuing regarding gun shops. Investigators are canvassing buildings and showing doorbell video release by FBI to determine whether suspects appear familiar. Investigators are working with Walmart management to identify and isolate the individual who purchased that backpack, guys. That will be interesting. All right. Again, we know about the DNA, Guthrie video doorbell. They're still searching that. Archbishop says a prayer on the Today Show for Guthrie's return, which is always important. We should always say a prayer for our victims. All right. I'm not going to put that on though. And then I'll go all the way back to Friday. Man accused of sending fake ransom note was arraigned Friday. Now that was Derek Colella, the man who was connected to Annie and Tommaso. He was the one that was charged with sending a quote unquote fake ransom text message to Annie and Tommaso and said, "Where's the Bitcoin? We're getting sick and tired of it. Give us the Bitcoin." Okay, and now we're going to catch up to right now. Let me make sure I did not miss anything. All right, and I still have video after video coming up. Oh, we got 2 things actually. Before we get into this, we gotta do this one. I gotta play my boy. You guys are in for a treat now. And I did put it in my I put it in my description because it came out 5 hours ago. So hold on. We gotta do we have Mr. Deception Detective, eye candy for the ladies, and brain stimulation for everybody else, right? Deception Detective just came out with this hours ago. He says this update is bad, right? We love how he thinks.
In the Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case, first of all, the testing of that glove, the DNA testing in Florida is complete. Now, that doesn't answer the questions about whose DNA is it and are they connected to this kidnapping? Because under federal law, the glove has to be tested in the state where the glove is found.
That's not accurate, and even if it were, they could have just tested it at an eligible lab in Arizona in the first place and avoided the delay. In fact, very little in this update makes any sense at all. So in today's video, let's break it all down. I'm Deception Detective, an attorney trained in statement analysis. This channel exposes lies and manipulation, so if that's your thing, hit subscribe. For early access to new videos, over 60 exclusive videos, and other cool perks, consider becoming a channel member. Link in description.
And we love that you're continuing to cover this case. We know that she was kidnapped from Arizona and the siblings were not sure yet. Hold on, let's go back.
Demands the FBI, the family, and especially TMZ have received are authentic. In other words, I think they're all opportunistic hoaxes. Okay, now that I've brought everyone to the table, let's pick up where we left off.
CODIS is combined DNA intakes.
I do think that they're opportunistic as well, but I do believe that possibly at least one of the alleged ransom notes was sent by the people that did this as an afterthought and a way to get money. All right. Maybe they were trying to do that and maybe she died on them. Remember, there has been zero proof of life. Now, you want to collect 2 million, 4 million, 6 million, any million, you show proof of life. Right. And they have not done that at all.
System that has 27 million DNA profiles. And in order to check out the DNA in that system, in the CODIS system, the glove has to be tested in the state where it was found, and that is Arizona. That glove, we're told, is in Arizona right now. This is called a PCR test. It's the most sophisticated DNA test. It's the gold standard. Usually takes just a day to get the results. We are told that in the next 24 hours, once that glove is tested and the results are in, that profile will go into the CODIS system. So that should be resolved within 24 hours and maybe sooner. Now, we are also told, and I think this is really interesting, that the glove that was tested is not the glove that the New York Post found. It is a different glove.
Multiple black gloves have been found in proximity to the crime scene, Nancy Guthrie's house, and that's actually not surprising. That's what I would expect when you have multiple investigative agencies all looking for black gloves, and probably some of them also wearing black gloves so that they don't leave fingerprints anywhere. In fact, at this point, you might even have people actually leaving black gloves in the area just so they can quote unquote find them and have something to report about and post on social media about. Kind of like how a news agency might send themselves fake ransom letters so they have something to report about, or at the very least,
and I wonder if that's any of the case. I don't think so, though, guys. And the only reason I don't think so is because TMZ is heavily involving, or so to speak, what they're saying. They're heavily involving the FBI in those letters. And I think they'd get in quite a bit of trouble if they were sending them to themselves and then the FBI tracked back that TMZ was doing that themselves. I think that'd be a huge problem and probably the end of their career. So I hope they're not doing that. Either way, we need the FBI to give us something, and I don't know that they're going to.
Treat an obviously fake ransom note as serious and take it at face value so they have something to report about with plausible deniability. But that's coming up next. At this point, as far as the gloves go, I doubt any DNA will be found that links to the actual disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. A, because I doubt the kidnapper would actually leave their gloves right there on the scene when they didn't leave even a trace of evidence anywhere else in the house. And B, because I'm still not convinced this was an actual kidnapping by a stranger for ransom. So let's get into the next part of this update.
Now, something else that we have learned. There are stories out there that gun shops have been given around 40 names of people that the FBI wanted to check to see if people bought a certain type of gun, namely the gun that was in the holster of the presumed kidnapper. We told you this is a semi-automatic handgun. So what we found out is that they have already checked out the holster to see who has bought a similar holster in that area. And the names that were given to the gun shops are people who actually bought that type of holster. And it's not like those people are all people of interest, but what they want to find is, did somebody both buy a holster like that and buy a gun like that?
Now, listen, too, another thing that somebody had pointed out to me that it was hard for me to see, that holster that they were wearing did not match the gun that was in it. And you can tell because it almost looked empty or really it just wasn't fitting. Normally when you have a holster, it fits the particular gun that you're buying. They make it to fit it. And I believe that they used it, and I don't want to say it backwards, they used a holster that was for a revolver instead, or they used a holster that was backwards. They had a revolver and they used the wrong one, period, straight up. So when you see that holster, that's not the right holster. You would be able to see that right out of the gate. It was the wrong holster, and I don't know why. I doubt they purchased it at the same time, maybe, but I doubt it because a gun dealer would absolutely remember that.
And then all of a sudden, they're going to be real interested in that person. So that is why the FBI is checking out gun shops in that area.
course.
If you're a longtime subscriber, you'll know I don't put any credence into body language. I basically don't pay attention to it at all. But there's one thing I noticed, or at least my subscribers did. As I posted on X back when the FBI first released this footage, it looked like the kidnapper was left-handed. And if my subscribers and I are correct about that, it would mean that his holster was probably borrowed. In other words, it wasn't his own and he didn't buy it. So let me know in the comments below what you think. Now let's get back into my wheelhouse, statement analysis, because what Harvey Levin says here about the most recent ransom request they received is very bizarre.
Final thing I want to say is that the man who has been sending us emails demanding to know and demanding money in return for information leading to the identity of the kidnapper and the location of Nancy Guthrie. We have received now numerous letters from this person. We are not going to talk about this person anymore because if I tell you that he sent us another letter but didn't give us the information, and I keep telling you he sent us another letter and another letter, then suddenly when I stop, everybody's going to figure out, oh, he must have finally given the information, and that could screw up the investigation because that information is going to go immediately to the FBI, and then they're going to do their thing. So by definition.
And yet that's true. A Lady for Justice, either it was a fake holster, but I think it was just the complete wrong holster. Like I said, when they make them fitted for a particular gun. That's just not how it works. I have several of them, I assure you. And the ones that I have mostly are for my 9mm and my 9mm subcompact. I don't carry one for my revolver because it has a hairpin trigger, and I'm really just a little bit afraid of having a hairpin trigger holstered right there, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, Lady for Justice, it was either just some fake thing they used or the complete wrong one. But it's once you see it, you can't unsee it. It's very wrong.
And if we keep saying, we got another one, we got another one, we got another one, and all of a sudden we say we're not going to talk, you're going to figure out that means he just gave it up, and it could then tip off the kidnapper. So we're not going to say anything more unless and until we get that information and pass it on to the FBI. And at some point, then we will let you know. And also, that creates a public record for the person who would give us this information, that it could lead to the kidnapper and therefore entitle them to the reward. So radio silence on that front, but there is movement. And, I will say one other thing, that I spoke to a law enforcement source today who said that this is gumshoe detective work right now, that they are just chasing down every possible lead they can to try and find the kidnapper and Nancy Guthrie.
In case you didn't catch it, how did Harvey Levin know that the ransom demander is a man? I doubt they're signing off on their demands with their name. And speaking of signing off, how is TMZ receiving these demands anyway? At one point, Harvey said it was a letter, and at another point, he said it was an email. In statement analysis, at least, when people use different words for the same thing, it usually means a change in reality. And often it means that the story's made up, so there's no firm thing that they're picturing. I've put the recognizing information card from my deception deck, my 52 favorite rules for spotting lies and manipulation, on your screen right now if you want to read the full rule. All that said, I don't think TMZ is sending these requests to themselves in order to report on it, the same way I don't think the New York Post planted that glove.
Yeah, I don't either. I really truly don't. I think that would be a terrible idea. Also, I get a lot of emails, and I appreciate you guys a lot for these theories. I could play a whole other episode that came out today about the theories on or about the Nancy Guthrie case. And, people are talking that Nancy's in Mexico. So, I got a message. I don't want to say your name. I'll just call you TF. And you're asking about if anyone's contacted Mexican authorities. Are there billboards of Nancy there? What if foreign individuals in Mexico who did this went to the border, they fled? What about if it's a cartel member? Maybe Tommaso owed a cartel member gambling money. It's a possibility that it can be some kind of some gang activity, or they took her to Mexico. It has been heavily speculated, but I'm not sure that would be a good source of that would be a good resource money to spend right now, because it really just is a rumor. So no, I haven't heard of that. If anybody in chat has heard of them looking in Mexico for her because of that, the ransom note saying they know she's in Mexico. Let me know. If they are, it's FBI that's involved, and they're not going to tell us right now. And so the answer to that would be no, not right now. I've heard nothing about them searching or putting billboards up in Mexico. I mean, that's just as wild. That's a wild goose chase. It's as wild as me writing an email and tipping into FBI right now that I saw her in Canada. And I'm pretty sure I saw this girl with long blonde hair and her man that was wearing, had a short black haircut and all black, taking her to Canada. And then all of a sudden they're going in Canada and putting up billboards. I can't validate. I don't think they could validate spending resources like that until there's some solid lead. Yeah, and if she's in Mexico, are they allowed? Yeah, they can cross the border. Absolutely. That happens a lot. But I just don't think that I have not seen the resources going there. You didn't hear that? I certainly have, but it's just a rumor at this point.
Cognitive dissonance is a very powerful thing. So if the incentives are big enough, your brain might just be blind to red flags that otherwise would alert you to something being an obvious fake or hoax. Check the end card for my Nancy Guthrie playlist if you want to binge watch my analysis so far, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next installment. Until next time, stay true.
All right, so I just had to get that in there because we support Deception Detective. If you're not already subbed, go sub to him. Now I want to take a look at FBI, because especially FBI is going to probably be the organization that's going to ultimately solve this thing. I hope they take lead soon, and they seem to shut their mouth until they have something credible, which is what you should do. All right. So FBI visits gun shops with 40 name lists and photos. And then, Anton's going to tell us about sheriff clearing family in Nancy Guthrie case. But again,
coming up in this episode,
those words are really not what he said. He really did not say that the family is cleared. They keep changing the wording. He said they're not involved. And then when you ask him why, they say because he doesn't want to hurt their feelings. And I don't know. Still, again, let's get into Enton and see what he has to say. He's been there just like JLR. He's on the scene. He's been there daily.
Ryan Enton investigates. Hey guys, so a couple of big
All right.
games. They just want to know if they've been in the gun shops in Tucson. So that's new, and that's pretty interesting. The other thing that's new today is that the sheriff has cleared the Guthrie family as being suspects in the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The siblings and their spouses. And let me read you the sheriff's statement because it was
And again, you're going to get the same statement that I read earlier. I'll check my email, Rachel. I've been checking it. Let's listen to it and then pull back from your memory what I was just telling you a little bit ago, how he didn't clear anybody. He literally said nobody's cleared. They're probably not clear. Exactly. That's what I'm thinking, Anna Scott. 110% is what I'm thinking.
pretty intense statement. And this is pretty rare to see during an active investigation, a statement like this where people are outright cleared. And he hasn't done this in the past. I mean, he sort of alluded to it, but remember he said in the past, like, we're not, everybody could be a person of interest, but this is what he's saying now. He said, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. And then he goes on to say, to suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I'm begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. So it's kind of an emotional statement that he's giving, and he's clearly fed up with people calling out the Guthrie family. And it's been an issue just in general with this case and other cases I've seen. I mean, people start putting photos on social media claiming that people are suspects, and it can really do a lot of damage to their reputation, and it's just, irresponsible. So but the big news is flat out now we know that the Guthrie family has been cleared. The other
we don't flat out know, and I think that's BS. So yeah, Joanne, I think it's a diversion. I think that they absolutely just want people to back off the family. We heard him say time and time again that he said that, the sheriff said that, but nobody's been cleared. right? And thank you. Somebody just sent me a cleared from possible suspects doesn't mean they won't be. Well, listen, Carrie, if you were here at the very beginning of this, I completely broke down for you what you just said. So maybe go back and watch that. But I hear you, and I did just get that the bizarre story about a kidnapping, and that was not in her younger days, since. So maybe it's worth taking a look at. There's actually a kidnapping story in Savannah's 2024 book, and even stranger new TMZ letters is what it's saying. So that's interesting. That just came out hours ago. I think I think it's worth a listen. And if you guys are here for it, we can go over this Brian Enton thing and then still go over that, because that's wild. I didn't know that came out hours ago, and I'd love to see if maybe somebody is emulating the kidnapping story. I just wish they could have ransacked the house and taken. Me too, but I don't think that's what it was. That's the problem, Gypsy. But yes, I absolutely do.
New piece of reporting here has to do with, you guys know that this glove that was found 2 miles from here.
But just because I played the Brian Enton thing doesn't mean that I believe what he says or anybody says. You guys know my feelings on this, and I believe that they're just trying to get people off of their back. You got to remember, Annie and Tommaso have been hiding out. We hadn't seen them in days. The first time we did, they were hiding. So they may have told Sheriff Nanas, we're not coming out until people are blaming us. And so maybe he just said that, because when asked again, he says nobody was cleared. All right.
Delays in getting DNA into the FBI database. Let me read you what she's reporting. She says, the decision to send the glove with DNA to a private lab in Florida is causing what one source familiar with the case calls unnecessary delays in getting the DNA entered into the FBI's CODIS database. That's because the FBI does not accept DNA submissions directly from private labs. Instead, once testing is complete in Florida, it's likely the DNA data extracted must first be sent back to the state of Arizona, where it can be uploaded and becomes shareable with the FBI for entry into CODIS. That extra step adds time, creating what the source describes as a catch-up process when the FBI could have processed and entered the data within a day.
And you see, they should have just let the FBI do that. But I'm having a pissing contest with FBI, which, by the way, I've watched other interviews outside of watching it with you. And I got to tell you right now, that officer has been called many things, and many people say he has a huge ego and he wants to outdo the FBI. Yes, and Rosalind, welcome to the Crime Crew official, being an official member. Megan Kelly played the clip of Savannah reading the. Yeah, I'm gonna do that. I'll go back to that. Someone just emailed that to me, and I don't know if you want me to say the name. Very sloppy, very sloppy. You think he just likes to watch himself talk? Oh boy.
According to the source. So basically, the FBI is saying again that because the Pima County Sheriff's Office did not send this DNA directly to Quantico, to the FBI facility, and instead sent it to their private lab in Florida, that it's slowing things down. Of course, the Pima County Sheriff has come back on some of that criticism in the past and said, look, we actually talked to the FBI before we went with our Florida lab, and we were all in agreement. So it's still kind of tricky there. You got two different people telling two different stories there, but it sounds like, according to Libby's source, there's a delay now in getting this DNA into the CODIS database because it went to the private lab in Arizona, which is interesting.
Which again was just denied by the sheriff. The sheriff literally just said, and this is a great conversation right here, so we're going to get to that. The sheriff just said that didn't happen. So it's good to watch multiple sources, because either the sheriff's lying, well, he's probably lying, but he relayed that message incorrect, because Brian Enton's saying that, and they're saying that's not the case. So which one is it? It's not good. FBI needs to just be in charge. All right, let's listen to this. They have good conversations here, and I do have the bizarre kidnapping story.
Homicides, attempt homicides, sexual assaults, all the way down to burglaries. My career was in LA County, and I was finished my career as a forensic supervisor at Hawthorne PD.
Great. Well,
Just
it's nice
a few
to meet
days ago. She just finished a few days ago.
Yes.
Okay. Well, we're happy to have you on. Thank you so much.
She's a noob. Welcome, noob. She just finished a few days ago. I'm a OG. All right.
Much, Morgan. I want to start out reading you this, Maureen, though, because this just
OG.
happened. This is a new statement from the Pima County Sheriff. And what he says is, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case. The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious and are victims in this case. To suggest otherwise is not only wrong, it is cruel. The Guthrie family are victims, plain and simple. Please, I am begging you, the media, to honor your profession and report with some sense of compassion and professionalism. So I wanted to see what you think, Maureen, because he's sort of alluded to that in the past, but then he's also said things like, well, everybody's still a person of interest. But now he's being very.
I just want to hear what they have to say. We don't have to watch this whole thing. We certainly would be more beneficial for me to quickly go over the Nancy Guthrie developments in the case and the kidnapping story. But I do want to, I am interested in what they have to say about him saying this, because what I think is what they might think. He just wants to divert people from bothering them. Although that's a bad move.
Clear in black and white that they are cleared as possible suspects and that includes siblings and spouses. What do you make of it, Maureen?
That's the most definitive thing he's ever said throughout this entire investigation. So I'm glad to hear it. If that's what the whole investigative team is saying, then that's what we got to go with.
No, that's not what we have to go with, because he's not telling the truth. And you ask him again and he tells you something else. We're not going with that. And the jab. No, FBI comes in several cases. Many times the FBI comes in when things start to cross the state lines. That's it. That's all. As soon as you cross the state line, look at the Busby case. Ashley, did I say it right? Melody and Ashley, because I know there's another Busby case. As soon as it crossed state lines from California to Colorado to Utah, the FBI steps in. And then other times, it's not one of those things where you call up the FBI and say, I want you involved. No. But there are several other circumstances. And that is one of them.
Do you think that means that they may be closing in on someone? That's what I thought. Like, does this mean that if they're clearing all of them, does that mean they may be getting closer to finding who did it?
Yes, I think that's exactly what this might mean. And, you know, we're expecting DNA results as early as today. So they may be planning something big within the next day. Maybe tomorrow.
You've sort of got the sense, Maureen, that something has been building, that we may be getting closer, maybe even this week.
Yeah, I've felt this inertia building for the last week or so. And it also comes from the experience of being in big investigations where, you've got subpoenas out, you've got the DNA information out. They're telling us it's going to come back. We executed search warrants. The search warrant information caused us to subpoena more people. You've got some people probably under surveillance, other people with the whole phone situation and all the advanced technological stuff that's happening. It's all just coming together. When you add into that the tips and leads, and then how they doubled when they doubled the reward, we've got a lot of information pouring in, getting merged and purged every which way. And I just hope that it's go time.
I want to ask you, Morgan, because there's been a big focus on the DNA the last couple of days, because we know they found DNA in Nancy's house. And then they also found DNA on this glove 2 miles away from Nancy's house that apparently the FBI says looks like the glove that the suspect was wearing. How did they go about, I'll start with the glove. How would you go about processing a glove like that?
So when we get evidence like that, we're looking for the biological evidence, more like trace DNA. So skin cells, sweat, things like that are left behind inside of the glove. So we bring it back, we process it, swab it, and then send it to a lab, whichever lab of your choice. Obviously, the sheriff in this case had a lab in Florida. So we're going for those touch DNA, that skin cell. I mean, it's a little bit difficult only because you have that glove 2 miles away from the scene.
So listen, I'm assuming they just sent it straight to Florida, okay? And FBI didn't get it at all. All right, what's up, Freddie? We'll watch Jay every day, praying for all who are in need. Thank you, Arrow. Cleared by locals, not FBI. Thank you, Husky Lover. I think they were only cleared by what Nano said in a statement. And I agree. I think the locals don't want people bothering them, and they just showed back up. Why were they gone? Why did they shut their social media down? What? Sheriff Nanos used his position to put a gag order on Heather before the end of the election. So I believe the last 10 days, the 2 weeks, the election, she wasn't allowed to speak. Wow. Same thing. Girl was cleared only to be arrested. All right. And I believe that. I don't believe that the family or somebody close doesn't have anything to do with it. Absolutely not. I do want to hear more about the guns. It's not really exciting. We know how to swab a damn glove. Come on, man. Let's see about the guns.
You know, why is that glove deposited out there with both victim and suspect?
Who cares? Gloves, you pull them off. They usually go inside out. You test the outside first because that's where it touched. Maybe you'll get a hair in it. We swab it. Come on, man.
So generally speaking, when we go into houses, we want to look for areas that we believe were some point of contact by the suspect. So, I mean, in this case, it's a little more difficult because we don't have Nancy to say, you know, this item was moved or this item has disappeared.
Yeah, but we would know if they left some kind of scene because they call it a crime scene. And I don't know if they call it a crime scene just because of the little blood drops on the stairs, or if things were disturbed. Maybe her rocking chair was pushed. I don't know if she has one, but you know what I'm saying. I'm going to go forward this. This is just like common sense. I wanted to hear about the guns. Touching my face, touching my ears. No shoot. Come on.
You that they take off their gloves while they're in there because they're trying to do something and they touch.
Yeah. We know about gloves.
Release the scene. But in a case like this, when it just started growing so quickly, it just would have made more sense just to put up the caution tape, leave it up.
Yes.
And maybe have, you know, sometimes the sheriff department wouldn't have that, the manpower to put someone on there 24 hours, because that's a lot of manpower to take away from a department that's covering, what's that county? Didn't they say it was something like 9,000 square miles?
It's huge. Yeah.
It's huge. That you can't have a deputy just sitting there the whole time. That family, if you want, we could, you know, I mean, they could have hired someone to sit there and secure that place. I don't know if it would be considered secure for police purposes, but I guess I see both sides. I guess I see both sides, but in this particular instance, I think they cleared it way too soon, especially since the FBI was coming in. And as a courtesy, I would have locked it down until the FBI got there and said, okay, it looks like everything's been done the way we would want it, because I don't think that was the case.
I actually, to chime in on that, I agree. I would do the same if it was a local investigation and we knew the FBI was coming in to assist, and the amount of resources the FBI has. I don't know that we would have released it at that point. We would have kept it until that FBI or whoever we had requested resources from came in before we released, because once you release it, it's just a little more difficult.
And you have to get another warrant.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a warrant and you go in with a consent to search, it's not
the risk.
You know, it's a big risk to have any of that evidence.
And again, we still don't know. There's rumors. We know about the gloves. I mean, it's like, come on. They asked this girl that just graduated from school. They asked her about gloves. You pull them off, you pull them on. Come on, man. California, she just needed a vacation. Oh my goodness. Thought criminal. I'm gonna put my email down at the bottom for you, and I also want you guys to, it's right there, guilty of crime at the very end, guilty of crime by j@gmail.com. I want you guys to know that this is great news. It's CrimeCon, guys, is starting to release. I'll send this to you, Holly, as well. CrimeCon is May 29th through the 31st, 2026, and they're starting to release the guests and the creators that have applied. So let's hope that Guilty of Crime gets in there. If I don't get in there and get a table or any of that, that's okay. I'm still going to CrimeCon, and we're going to all meet up and then do the Bellagio party, etc. But I just wanted you to know, for those that are going to CrimeCon and have been following it, they're starting to release the names of who gets to go. Now, I did apply for a spot as a new creator, and I do have lots and lots and lots and lots of views per week. So I do hope that I get chose. But again, if I don't, I'm still going. My girl Tiff, I hope you're feeling better. Thank you for all your prayers. I'm very sick, but not dying. Y'all can't get rid of me that easy, and we don't want to. I don't know how I did my day without you today, but I do hope you're feeling better. And you know, we all love you. All right. Yeah, get some rest. Lots of fluid, all right? Because We all got to get to Vegas. We're going to have a party. It's going to be fun. And we're not going to sleep. Just kidding. I'm too old for that. Love you guys, but we will see each other in Vegas. Let's continue. I don't need to know about those gloves. I wanted to talk about the guns.
This, Maureen, that you think it's possible that there could have been a second suspect, that he was at the front door, this guy who we've seen, and there may have been someone else. Would they have ways to look for that when they're processing the crime scene, Morgan? Like, what would they be looking for in that regard?
Without video surveillance nowadays, it's hard to go into a crime scene knowing how many people you're looking for, which is like we've talked about why we do what we do in a systematic way every time to ensure we don't leave things behind. It's very, very much routine practices when you get inside. But to know if there was more than one by just looking at the crime scene itself, that would be difficult to decide. As far as there being one, or I think I heard on the news today that someone was saying that they thought a crime of opportunity. And all of my career, I don't know a time when someone would break into a house where they don't know who's on the other side, in the sense of, and then we're going to abduct someone and keep a lady with me. You'd have to be prepared for that. You have to take someone that's almost immobile to your home or wherever you're going to keep them. Like, that's pre-planning. I don't think it's crime of opportunity where
You also better make sure you have your pill cutter in case you need to cut her pills in half. And what if she can't take pills? You're gonna have to crush them up and make her eat them in her applesauce. And you gotta keep her hydrated. And yeah, she's gonna need some naps too. It's ridiculous, guys. I'm telling you, I so pray that Nancy Guthrie is still alive and with us, but I don't think that was the motive at all. Whatever happened got botched. I don't think she's alive anymore. And if she is, what good? And I don't mean to be an asshole. I'm just being straight up with you. What good would it do to have an 84-year-old woman at your house to have to medicate and feed and take care of when you didn't even leave a ransom note or give one for days? And when people try to respond to you to pay you the damn ransom note, you don't respond. Why? Why would you? What would that do? Yeah, meds are cheaper in Mexico, but still, what would you gain out of that? Nothing. It would just give you one more thing you have to do. I don't get it. All right. Meds are cheaper back. And Cheeky, do you know the meetup date and the plan? Well, I will get to you, Cheeky, if you email me. We are having a CrimeCon dinner hosted by Patricia from the Crime Crew, Patricia, New York, on Friday, May 29th at 6:30 at the Bellagio. There's going to be a buffet dinner, open bar, DJ and music, all that. So if you email me, I will send you the flyer. And once it's all solidified, I'll also post it up on the on my page and on Ghost and all that fun stuff. All right. So I got you. For anybody that wants to go, we also want you to go to Vegas, CrimeCon 2026. And that is going to be, it actually starts May 29th. And ends on the 31st. But since we're doing the party on Friday the 29th, y'all might want to come the day before. All right? Just saying. I'm old, so I need my time to nap and get ready and all that. All right, let's continue. We still got more.
you broke in for a burglary and then you took an 84-year-old woman with you. I just don't think that's the case.
Yeah.
Do you think there may have been someone at the back door, Maureen? Or when you said you thought there might be two people, what do you mean?
Well, I think it's likely that someone may have been driving a vehicle, and I think it may have been pulled up into the driveway. I think they may have approached the house with no headlights on, pulled into the driveway, got into the circle, the first part of that circle drive, out of view of that camera or of the front door, and then had that guy who I am convinced was stoned walk up there. But I think he was just trying to, he looked like he was surprised with that camera, but I don't know, why would he even walk up to that front door unless he thought it was open or he had a key? Because when you have a burglar door like that, they're almost impossible. They're impossible to open just, with.
And now remember, he almost looked like he was going to go knock on the door. And he walked up there and then he was like, oh, let me cover this and go. And there's no, that they're telling us about. There could be There was no force of entry anywhere, but the back door was left open. Now, mind you, there were no blood drops when we saw the initial kidnapper come to the door, and we've analyzed it and looked at it several times. I know I have, but there was when they left. So why did they bring her out through the front door? Did they leave the back door open on purpose, or was it the second person that went out of the back door? I just can't, like, you got to make it make sense. And you're right. I think there was earlier on, whether it was accident, who knows, but I don't see anyone keeping her. For what? Makes no sense. Hopefully they find her. It sure is sad. I mean, they're not trafficking her. Obviously, that's not your typical, right? It's just like Sebastian Rogers. When people say Sebastian Rogers was maybe he was trafficked, that is not who people traffic. They don't traffic 15-year-old autistic boys. I hate to say that. It's just true. And Claudia, I did not mean to miss you. Thank you so much. You say he looked like Yosemite Sam. Thank you. I appreciate you. And then Rosalind, thank you for being a member. My girl Tiff, thank you for the super chat. All right, we're gonna get into the craziness, guys. We got that crazy, bizarre kidnapping story from 2024. What's that about? I hadn't even heard about that. Don't know. I'm done talking about these gloves, though.
Brute force. And secondly, they have that very thick front oak door that's like a Spanish style. So my only thing with the front door is was he just checking it out to see what the deal was? Was he hired by someone who said, "Hey, go up to the front door and see if the front door is open or whatever"? But the fact that we've heard in a press release that the back door was wide open, the back door was ajar in some way, shape, or form, and the back door is a door that could be
I
breached.
don't think we actually, sorry to interrupt you. I don't think we know that for sure, actually. And it's confusing because there's been so much different reporting. I think there was someone reporting that about the back door, but they never confirmed it. We don't know for sure that the back door was.
I've absolutely heard that multiple times, that the back door was left open. Again, it could have just been left open on purpose to make it look like I don't know. But I mean, yeah, who's going to be patient enough to sit there and care for her and give her medication? It absolutely, in my opinion, is not a stranger whatsoever. Lil Hot Mama, welcome. Lil Hot Mama 6089 says, "Hey everyone, I'm new here." Well, welcome, Lil Hot America. I'm just gonna call you Lil Hot. How about that? All right. I mean, Sebastian might have been sold. It's just a theory, but he's not. Again, I base my knowledge usually on statistics and the I mean, statistics is the number one thing, and then you see cases again and again, and you realize that is not a prime candidate for somebody to be trafficked at all whatsoever. All right, caught you Little Hot then. Didn't the family come home and the house told she was missing? Come home when didn't the family come to the house when told? Yes, but we don't know who or what, because they called law enforcement. Somebody called 911, so we're not really sure who rolled up and didn't find her there or what. It's just very unclear.
It's open.
But okay, fair enough. But we do know that the back door was far easier to get in than the front door.
Yes.
There's just no question. Could she have left the screen door open? Maybe. I don't think so. If I'm an old lady living alone, the doors are locked. But could both doors be unlocked? I don't think so.
What do you think, Morgan? With all the scenes you've seen?
I really do think that they went into the garage. I think they had the garage opener, or maybe there's a garage code. I just don't understand how there's so much only speculation. These people are boots on the ground and they don't even know
what the front door and back door, like why they would have gone in, or if you think there's two people,
or how they may have gotten in. I mean, because it doesn't seem like they got in through the front door, maybe left through the front door with the blood, but
yeah.
Yeah, and that's why I don't think this is just a random crime of opportunity where someone walked up, checked a door, wiggled a few windows. I don't think that's the case. I think there was intent here. I think there was a plan. I think they knew means of access to get in. I just think it's too far-fetched to think that someone just was able to pop open a back door, or by chance her back door was open and someone was at the front door. I mean, it could be. I've worked a lot of crime scene in my days.
Guys, that's a big ass house. You would not think that there's one 84-year-old lady in the house if you didn't know anybody there. All right. And that's what I think, Mafrana. They had a key code or a key or a garage opener. It's not that hard. I've even seen other garage openers open somebody else's garage in the past. When we lived a long time ago in a neighborhood that was like a new track home, our garage opener would open someone else's garage, which is very unsafe. But that's what the deal is. All right, so they're speculating about all that. Let's get to this. I'm over this conversation. I thought they were going to talk more about ballistics and the gun, and they didn't. So we got what we needed to hear. Now let's talk about this bizarre story that someone messaged me. That is not old, in fact. And remember, we are here for missing person Nancy Guthrie to bring her home. All right, that's the missing person QR code. If you got a TV, a big TV there, you can scan that code. I don't know if you can on something small or not. I can't tell. I'm not really sure, but here we go. Interesting. Bizarre story about kidnapping in Savannah's 2024 book. That's weird. I don't even know where that came from or why or what. The only thing I would get out of this is that maybe someone tried to emulate that story. Listen up.
Book, which was released in February.
And guys, this just came out 4 hours ago.
Of 2024, discussed a game she used to play as a kid with her cousin, and it was a kidnapping game involving Nancy. So we pulled the audio that Savannah did of her book. In it, you're going to hear her talk about her cousin Terry, who was, she said, like an aunt to her growing up. Terry's 20 years older than Savannah. So Terry would be 74 right now. But listen to this.
About once a year in the summertime, Cousin Terry orchestrated a kidnapping of my sister and me. It went down like this. The cousins would visit for a few days at our house in Tucson. And then, on the morning they were to leave, Terry would wake us up early, shushing us in the pre-dawn darkness as we made our escape. We would all pile into her rickety station wagon and head north, the sky streaking with bright oranges and pinks as the sun rose over the colorless desert landscape. Somewhere between Phoenix and Tucson, Terry would make a pit stop and let Annie and me call home at a payphone.
Isn't this weird? And since, especially you thought that too, I had no idea. I thought when you said it was from her like teenage days or in high school, no, this was in 2024. This case just keeps getting more weird. I don't get it. I know that the family is in a living nightmare. I hope they find who. And more than anything, Lil Hot, you know what? At this point, just want Nancy Guthrie to be let go or brought home alive. If they never caught the people, it would suck, but I almost wouldn't care just to have that woman home. Like I said, it just hits way too close to home for me, probably for you, whether you have a mom that's that age or a grandma, a great grandma. It just doesn't make sense. It's creepy. Did someone emulate that? I don't feel like Savannah's involved in this, but lots of people read her book. It was a New York Times bestseller.
Phone. Mom, Cousin Terry kidnapped us to take us to her house. My mother would feign shock, protest how terribly she would miss us, then assure us she'd drive up to retrieve us in a few days.
Jonathan, that is just eerie. It's eerie. She released that in 2024. Talking about kidnapping and her mom and her sister and Savannah, a cousin. I don't know about Cousin Terry. I'm not sure whether Cousin Terry is still in the picture or what, but I'm not suggesting Cousin Terry is behind this, but I'm suggesting that just the mere discussion of kidnapping amongst the Guthrie family is potentially the kind of thing that could put an idea in somebody's head, could potentially be relevant in trying to track down where somebody first got the notion of a kidnapping and the Guthries. And then you have 3 months ago, Savannah with her mom in Tucson on the Today Show, showing off where they eat, where they hang out. I'm just trying to piece together how this possibly could have even come about, since the idea of kidnapping a mom is unfathomable to most of us.
Yeah, that is, there's a lot of detail to that story. And so, you know, I have a degree in political science and psychology, double major that is, I call it a double useless degree. But some of the things that I do remember.
He says a double useless degree. I love that. And I just got an email, and it is crazy. It does show the shadiness. I won't say your whole name, Heather. Like, I won't say your first or last name or anything. I'll just say Heather. And Heather sent me some articles on Nanos to reelect Sheriff Nanos. And when he did that, he was shady AF. You're right. They claimed that he placed his opponent on leave. And I think we talked about that earlier. He placed her on leave to sway the election. And then I think someone we talked about earlier, him also putting a gag order. Right. Also, another thing is former Pima County, the sheriff's candidate, Heather, is threatening a lawsuit. Now, this was in April of 2025, but it just shows how shady Mr. Nanos Barney Fife is. Dang, man. There's a lot in this case.
Out of psychology that really stands out is that there was one woman who had one of the case studies. She had like 14 different personalities, and she had a sister. Well, they were both abused as children, and their mom would do things like when they were, she felt they were being bad, she would put them in a bathtub with scalding water in it and make them sit there. And one developed this incredible deep psychosis. The other one was pretty normal and just hated her mom. So, you know, this is another reason why I wouldn't rule people out. And I'm not saying people should go down this rabbit hole, but as law enforcement, I don't rule these things out, because if the sheriff's never heard this before, this would be something that I would definitely look into. But anybody who's read that book as well, as you both have talked about stalkers, and we heard the other individual from, I think it was a BBC or wherever she was, talking about her stalker. People latch on to things in weird ways. And I know, Megan, Maureen, perhaps you have, because you're on TV a lot. And I know, Megan, you probably had these where you get emails from people that say some of the weirdest things, especially if you've been in the FBI. They're like, can you help me out with the FBI? Or people will write and say, hey, can you introduce, I used to host for Sean Hannity on the radio. I was his fill-in host, and people would write me and say, hey, can you get me in touch with Hannity? I got to tell him these things. Right. Well, that's not realistic.
Oh, sure.
And so I think when we look at, again, the totality of that show that was on there, it showed where Nancy lives. It talked about Savannah. And then there's this book out. This is kind of a striking coincidence, which does happen sometimes, but a striking coincidence I think needs to be looked into.
I mean, it happens sometimes and it should be looked into, but you all know how we feel over on Guilty of Crime about coincidences. We just simply don't believe in coincidences in true crime. Well, and another thing, time goes faster here on Guilty of Crime than anywhere else, doesn't it? How in the hell have I been on here for 3 hours and 15 minutes almost? It was my Monday today because I didn't work yesterday. Got up, went to work, was there for all day, and now we've been here for, wow, let's finish this up, guys. Do me a favor, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't, get a membership if you can, and if you can hype this up, please do. I did not even know we were here for 3 hours and 15 minutes. My bad, guys. I'm doing my best to get this story out to you, and there's a lot.
And I would, if I was investigating this, I would be looking at the people who continuously send TMZ these emails about how they've seen Nancy, right?
Because yes. We're going to get to that because there's another one.
Because that is the individual who very well could be responsible. Again, if these people are that wacky, like you were talking about, or this other woman who was stalked, the person thought they were in a relationship. So if a person, they could be thinking two different things at the same time, and still trying to get some kind of glory out of this. So I would really seriously be looking at that.
Hadn't even considered that. Had not even considered that the what seems like a fraudster continuously emailing Harvey Levin at TMZ about how I know who the kidnapper is and I want a Bitcoin. Well, half now, half later might actually be the kidnapper looking to insert himself into the discussion, as opposed to the person who wrote the first two $4 million, $6 million demands.
Sure.
That's an interesting thought. I had not even considered that because the person sounds so farcical. Hold on, put a pin in that because I do want to come back to that. But while we're on the subject of the potential stalker, we showed this a couple weeks ago with all of you, but let's take a look at that Today Show segment that I've now referenced a couple times that happened 3 months before.
So you guys came here in the 70s and you'd been moving.
This is important too, and I did see this one, guys. This is very important, this part. And the reason I say this is because I noticed this after I started being on social media. And when I say social media, I mean YouTube. When I was on social media, I was fine. No one bothered me. The moment I came onto YouTube and started getting subscribers, I started getting weird ass messages. I started getting haters. I started getting weird stuff. And this lady with Savannah being like a mega superstar on the Today Show worth all that money, she's telling them exactly where her mom lives. They're doing, and you'll see, bad idea. Bad idea. And I no longer do that anymore. I'll tell you anybody like where I came from or what, but I'm not specific anymore because it's scary. Listen to this. This got me, and this could be too. But again, it's still somebody that knows the family, the dynamics, the routines. This is scary.
All around, what made you want to stay in Tucson and plant roots?
It's so wonderful. Just the air, the quality of life is laid back and gentle. Yeah, I like to watch the holly and eat my plants.
But the best thing about Tucson is coming home and seeing you guys. Should we raise a glass? Prickly Pear Margarita? Cheers.
Cheers.
Love you.
Love you.
She's so cute.
It's eerie now. It's sad. Maureen, you're right, by the way. The pictures of Savannah and her mom are like very compelling. They're very compelling. You can see the love radiating.
You can. It's beautiful to see those two together, by the way. All right. I watched a special at Live Embassy. Yeah, it was beautiful. It's beautiful the way they did. I know. And people, I'm telling you, people, it's crazy. Needs to retire. She might be taking a break. She might be. I hear she might not be doing the Today Show anymore. I don't know.
Radiating off of these two. And I can relate to it. Honestly, it's like Savannah used to not, we've talked about it many times. Her dad died when she was 16. My dad died when I was 15.
My dad died when I was
sudden heart attacks.
Yep.
Yeah. Like there's something.
My dad hasn't died yet, but when he does, I'm going to say, okay, what's next? Anyone know what my horoscope is for today? Laura says, I'm surprised there wasn't better security. I know, considering she lived alone and her daughter's in the public eye. And it was all out there in the dark. That was a beautiful house. There's a lot of doors, a lot of windows. I'm surprised too. What's up, Cool and Chris? I am glad you came and stopped by. I hope you're having a good day. It's very sad, but we're all here to bring Nancy Guthrie home and to spread the awareness. So thank you for stopping by. We love you. We're finishing up this segment, and then I promise I'll let y'all go. There's still 234 people, so as long as y'all are watching, let's finish this. Why not?
I don't know.
Your mom becomes your mom and your dad. Your mom, when your dad dies young, your mom becomes both parents. And
well, my mom is both parents because my dad was just a donor. So there. Love you, mom and dad.
my mom wasn't the tough guy when we were kids, but she had to become one because she had 6 teenagers when our dad died.
Well, it's no accident you became an FBI agent. It's definitely no accident you became an FBI agent. It's not, and it's no accident. Savannah and I both went to law school, and then we both became reporters. And I don't know. I would suggest, for the record, maybe we both had something to prove of our own. There's no question that the loss of a father figure and an actual father at a very young age has profound impact on a young woman. And Savannah did not want to leave her mom when it was time to go off and get her first reporting job, and the mother insisted that she do it. I understand that too. It was like I had it more when I went.
Wait, I want to show you guys something I had not noticed, and I don't know why I didn't notice it. Probably because I was just doing other things, looking other stuff. Do you see her mom's arm? So that shows you right there. And if anybody's in the medical field in here, let me know what that is. Is that a bruise on her arm, or is that because of maybe like, is she diabetic? Like, what is that? Do you see the mom's arm now right here? It's all like purple. Is that something? And I noticed in the other videos, she uses her right arm and she keeps her left arm kind of lower. So I just didn't know if that was something to do with medical, or is it a bruise? What is that? Anyway, if you guys know, let me know in chat. I have no idea. Right. And I'm going to go a little bit more forward because I want to hear about the new letter. I do love seeing these ladies together, and people should always all be close to their moms if they can. You guys know how I feel about mine. All right. Let's see if we can get some more on the case, the notes.
Her cousin Terry was just coming up with some.
Okay, so there's cousin Terry you guys are asking about. That was the one that was kidnapping them in the story.
Like secret plan to get the kids up early in the morning to get them out of the house to beat the traffic. And she just had a a good imagination. How someone else takes that is a totally different matter. You know, my dad, if he were late coming home as a joke, he would call my mom and, you know, she'd be all upset. And he would just say to her, "Hey, Mary, don't pay the ransom. I've escaped." And we would all crack up. And she'd say, "That son of a gun," you know, but so there are people that can find a little dark humor in things. And my whole family's first responders. So we all have that kind of dark humor.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not blaming.
We're Irish, so we have it.
It's so true of the Irish. We can't, we try to hide it, but it just, when it comes out, you just see everyone.
What about the Puerto Ricans in the house? I have dark humor. I have dark humor though, but I do watch horror movies. I gotta say, people are like, "You're crazy, Jay. You do true crime all day and then you watch horror." Well, when you do true crime all day and then you put a Freddy Krueger movie on, it's laughable. All right, it's laughable. A CGM goes on the back of the upper arm or belly. Use to control diabetes. My mom says her arm's bruised. She might have had blood work. And when you get older, your skin thins. Yeah, that I do know, Mama. That I do know. It could be the meds. In my opinion, FBI assess family told him to say they cleared so they can watch. That's interesting. Yeah, dark humor because I lived it. And I do know elderly people bruise easy. And I do know that when you tattoo elderly people, you got to be very careful because their skin gets so thin that if you go into the typical, like you would go on my arm, if you go into the typical depth, it spreads out. Have you ever seen somebody get their eyes tattooed? You guys ever seen people that have like black eyes tattooed and then you'll see outside of their eye, it will like come out? That's what happens with thin skin. It gets purple and weak. Fragile skin. I was just curious if anybody knew about any of that. Fragile skin. Yeah, probably just that, but I just hadn't noticed that. I don't think she's with us anymore, guys, and it's sad.
Burst into laughter, and you know,
yes,
you just got to hit
it. We know we have dark humor, y'all.
Kidnapper is. That's how number one started. Then it grew to, well, now the FBI is offering 100,000. Bitcoin's only worth 65. So I'll take 100,000 for my information now. And I want it to be 50 grand in Bitcoin before I reveal and the other 50 after I reveal. Different iterations of this. Then, and also he was offended that they raised the award. He was like, I feel attacked, something like that.
I thought that was great.
Person sounds like an absolute moron. So Harvey was on TV. You'll be shocked to hear talking about this development. And here is what he said, Top 57.
I have something to say to you.
Say it.
And I've already talked to the FBI about this, that if you are not real, you're committing a crime. This is the fourth letter you've sent, and I should tell everybody that in this letter, it says, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up, so I know who he is, and that was definitely Nancy with them. This is the second time he has referred to.
So that is interesting that he wouldn't just collect the $100,000 reward, or who gives a crap, right? I don't even care. Like, that'd be cool if you got a reward, but if I actually saw freaking Nancy Guthrie at the mall with some Mexican kidnappers, I wouldn't be emailing TMZ to find out what they'd give me. So it is a problem. There's a problem. There's something, I mean, this whole case is messed up, guys. You got to know that.
To more than one person involved in this. He also says one of the reasons he's worried about coming forward is he has a record. He has a burglary on his record from 10 years ago. If you're worried about getting this money and you really do have this information, send it to us. You're sending us these letters. Send it to us. We will forward it to the FBI. So this is a way for you to get that money if this really is legitimate.
Yeah, what?
Okay, so now in the third letter, by the way, that preceded this, Harvey said the man had written, be prepared to go international. Be prepared to go international. And so now we've got a fourth letter claiming he saw Nancy with, quote, them in Mexico, Jonathan. I mean, to be honest, we haven't fully explored the south of the border possibilities. The sheriff kind of ruled them out the other day. I mean, I don't believe the sheriff. I got to be honest. I don't believe a word that comes out of the sheriff's mouth.
And I'm glad she just said that because he kind of ruled them out being in Mexico. I don't believe him either. There's a possibility there. Should they chase that without any evidence? Absolutely not. either morally bankrupt or flat out scammers. I think it's the latter. Me too. I said he won't report on those ransom notes now. You think so? No way. I don't think she's over the border. I don't either. I absolutely don't either. I think that's BS. Just saying.
But the other day he did say, like, no, we don't even think that's a thing. So okay. Based
I
on
don't
what?
think
Your Democrat policies? Truly, like, how have you totally ruled out South? You don't know who
You
fucking did it.
still-
Sorry, I've had it with this guy. Should we be talking? Should we be paying a Bitcoin and a half to see what this guy may know about south of the border?
Well, first of all, let me say that, again,
He tried not to laugh. It's hard. Sometimes I cuss too, and I'm like, I don't want to cuss, but I just do. That was funny. All right, let's let somebody else to say, and then I'm just gonna run quickly through my Nancy Guthrie case developments from when she was kidnapped until today, just so you can see all the wild stuff that happened. My goodness.
in hosting radio, you make live reads so easy because they're terrible. But as you can see, Harvey Levin, who I figured he would be able to read a little bit better than that. That was terrible, first of all. But
it was pretty stilted.
Yeah. So, but listen, this goes back. I found something very striking. I've heard him read that already a couple of times, but for whatever reason, it didn't jump out at me that the individual that is supposedly writing these letters, first of all, are they coming from the same email? And if they are, then that is very telling. Secondly,
I think he said yes. I think he did say they
so
are.
the individual just said that he has a record for burglary. Now I find that very odd as well. As I told you last time I was on here, 20% of the people who commit a homicide are the ones who call in and report the homicide.
Exactly.
So they think that's going to keep them out of trouble or for whatever reason. So it could be the case, and I would hope that they are looking into this, that this individual could be the one who was actually going in there to burglarize the place, didn't even think about TMZ or anything, and then these other potentially fraud ransom letters came in and were read by TMZ, and so this individual reached out because he wants to get some money for something. Perhaps it was a robbery gone bad. But the reality is, again, when we're looking at the totality of all these things, this is how you go down as an investigator. You have to look down these rabbit holes.
International disputes, inflation.
All right, so we're done with that. Let's run through this and then we're out of here. I think there's a good possibility, guys, that somebody did go over there to maybe one of the family members or somebody close thought that she had a safe in the house. Maybe somebody thought she had an abundance of money, and when they went there to go get the safe and get whatever, and they said to her, "Where's your money? Where's your cash? I know you got expensive jewelry." Maybe she doesn't. Maybe she's got it at a lockbox, and they said, well, we're just going to take her with us. We'll use this as and I don't mean that they thought that right away. I don't mean that they were planning it as they go, because it took them 2 days to even get a ransom letter. You do not kidnap somebody and not leave or send a ransom letter as an afterthought at all, period. Sorry, just doesn't happen. All right, let me just run you through this. I'm not reading every bit of it. I just want to show you what's happened since, well, she was kidnapped. So Nancy Guthrie case developments. Again, I'm not going to read all of it. Developments from February 14th to the 17th. All right. That was Valentine's Day. That was this weekend to today. Nancy, 84-year-old mother of Today Show, co-anchor. Savannah Guthrie has now been missing for over 2 weeks. Guys, we're technically on the third week from her Catalina Foothill home near Tucson on February 1st. The case entered its third week with no arrests directly tied to her disappearance, but several significant forensic leads have emerged alongside, obviously, a torrent social media speculation and lots of misinformation, which we're trying to either correct or get ahead of or go back on and say, okay, this isn't right. All right, below's the detailed information. Again, I'm not going to read everything. All right, law enforcement developments between the 14th and 17th. That was this weekend. They say the Guthrie family officially cleared. In my opinion, that's not correct. I'm going to say he never said they were officially cleared by anything. As a matter of fact, I think he's just trying to get us off of their backs. And it's a personal thing. He says, to be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects. And then we hear people asking him, and he backpedals, right? Backpedals. He says, nobody is cleared, right? So DNA evidence between those days, one of the most significant forensic developments came from that stinking black glove that were 2 miles away from the residence. FBI confirmed the glove appears to match the gloves of the subject. Again, they don't match in the CODIS right now. The glove was packaged by Pima County on the 12th and sent overnight to their private forensic lab in Florida, which now, guys, FBI is going to have to get and retest themselves. It says confirming the presence of male DNA on at least one of the gloves. That's what FBI received. Now, today's the 17th. Investigators were awaiting official quality control confirmation before entering the unknown male into CODIS. The FBI's national DNA database. You guys know that if the DNA matches someone in CODIS, we now know it didn't. All right. Since it didn't, they're going to now do the genealogy, the genetic genealogy, the one they did with Golden State Killer and Brian Kohberger. All right. Separate DNA collected earlier from her house, etc. Another couple of things that happened between the 15th and 17th. That backpack was identified as a Walmart backpack. They say it's a black Ozark 25-liter trail hiker pack, and it's only sold at Walmart. So they're trying to go and find people that may have purchased that. All right. They provided authorities with records of all trail hiker purchases, both online and in the store. Suspects' clothing and face masks were also believed to have been purchased at Walmart, though the sheriff's department noted the items are not exclusively available, as the backpack is. Investigators also identified Strategy brand holster similar to the one visible in the suspect footage. So now we know that holster, we know what it is, right? Which it's not the correct one for the gun they had. You can tell, because when you have a holster made for your particular gun, it actually fits it. And the way they make it, and they make it in the way so that it fits it and hugs it. All right. Then they did an aerial pacemaker search, and we're looking for, they call a signal sniffer. We had talked about that was over the weekend, between this weekend and today. The 15th of February, I showed you Savannah Guthrie's latest emotional plea. And then again, you guys, 13,000 to 18,000. We're now at 50,000 tips, and the reward is over 100,000. Now, here's the Kayla Noel Day and Luke Daly situation. So there's still 194 people. You guys should stay here because a lot of people were confused about that, including me. So I'm almost done. Zeros intended. Honestly, Jay, your channel is the best. Well, thank you. I do appreciate that. I don't know what's going on with this case, but I'm getting you up to speed, and then I'll let you guys, class will be dismissed. All right. So I showed you, Kayla, Noel Day and Luke Daly earlier. Kayla, and Luke, I showed you their faces, and I told you that, Kayla is allegedly related to the Guthries. Okay, so what happened? Everyone's asking. 2 names, Kayla Noel Day and Luke Anthony Daly, became the center of the intense social media speculation after being linked to law enforcement operations near Guthrie's home. According to the records, Kayla Day, who is supposed to be I think the cousin of Savannah, she is related to the Guthries, was arrested around 11 p.m. on February 12th. On the 13th, a SWAT team executed an operation at the residence connected to the investigation, approximately 2 miles from the Guthries' home. Now, Luke Anthony Daly was among those detained. Multiple vehicles were towed, including that gray Range Rover that they were making a big deal about all weekend. Do you know whose it is? Now, separately, a traffic stop was conducted involving a late model gray Range Rover in a Culver's restaurant parking lot in Catalina Foothills. Officers erected a sheet around the rear of the vehicle while evidence technicians photographed and processed the SUV. At least 3 individuals Reportedly, 2 men and one of their mothers were detained and questioned in connection with the broader investigation. All were later released after questioning. Okay. So I want you guys to know that. And then, so I guess it's the niece. This is the niece theory. They say it's debunked, but I still want you to know the connections. Social media, particularly X and Reddit erupted. Kayla Day was Nancy Guthrie's niece, specifically the daughter of Nancy's alleged sister, Penny Guthrie. Day was linked to or married to Luke Daly. Day had connection to the gray Range Rover seized by authorities. This family connection explained the motive for Nancy's abduction. It says this theory has been debunked. Law enforcement has not confirmed any familial relationship between Kayla and the Guthries. The Hindustuen Times confirmed with authorities that the individuals being linked to the case as Nancy Guthrie's purported niece have no connection with the case. Now, they're not saying there's no connection, but her arrest, she is arrested with no bond, has no connection to the case. Furthermore, no one was formally arrested in February at the raid, the SWAT raid near her residence. Individuals were detained for questioning, but Kayla Day was arrested with no bond, non-connected. She's been in trouble for trafficking, drug trafficking, fraud, all that kind of stuff. All right. Law enforcement hasn't revealed specific charges against either Day or Daly, nor have they formally linked them to Nancy Guthrie's disappearance. And then Dolly Vision came up. You guys might have heard about the Dolly Vision stuff that happened. What the hell happened? I'm just going to quickly break it down for you. What's up, Arting with Lynn? Are you from Vermont? What's up, my girl? Good to see you. I'm almost done. Please let's go on. I thought you wanted me to go. I thought you were saying get out of here. I'm almost done. Okay, Dolly Vision. You guys saw him. He was out there. JLR. He's the YouTuber Jimmy Williams. All right, true crime content creator. Remember the dead body claim? A lot of you guys saw that during that night. The SWAT. The day before Valentine's Day, so on Friday, February 13th, a SWAT operation near Guthrie's home. Dolly made several sensational claims during a live stream. According to fellow YouTuber JLR, who was also on the ground, Dolly Vision claimed on his stream that someone had unalived themselves. You know what that means? Right in front of him during the SWAT operation, essentially suggesting he witnessed someone shoot themselves. And with a 22, although a 22 doesn't do that much damage, it will take your life. JLR called this out as false, stating nobody got out and was unalived themselves in front of Dolly, and that's what he was saying. JLR further stated Dolly just hyped everything up because he wanted to get a big shebang. I don't know if that's true or not. Additionally, a neighbor reportedly lied about one of the detainees blowing his head off, and Dolly was accused of posting an unrelated video of a deceased individual, claiming it was connected to the Guthrie case. Now, I got to tell you guys, a 22 is not going to blow your head off. And I hate to say it in that way, but a 22 is almost like a, now, if you're talking about a 22 Magnum, like a revolver 22, that's going to be different than a 22 just like a like a Glock. Did they make Glock 22s or Smith and Wesson 22? Those are little plinkers. Plink, plink, plink. A lot of times people make the mistake to use a 22 as self-defense. That ain't defending shit. Now, again, if it was a 22 long-range revolver, that might do a little blowing your head off. But those are the rumors posted, claiming it was connected. Local residents pushed back, stating it was an internet rumor, and whoever made the claim was lying. Again, I don't know. Separate YouTube video was entitled "Was Everything Dolly Vision?" put out last night on Nancy Guthrie False, directly questioning the accuracy of his reporting. There was broader criticism, which whatever. I don't criticize other YouTube creators. I like Dolly. It was part of a larger wave of true crime streamers who descended on the Guthrie neighborhood. USA Today reported that streamers stand with phones. We know that, narrating. Tucson Reddit user described them as foolish YouTube streamers who have been setting up camp. Whatever. We're the best foolish streamers out there, so be quiet. MSNBC, Alex Tibet criticized on the ground influences for saying things that are not based in fact, although Megyn Kelly fired back at Tibet, defending the influencers as bringing needed attention to the case. I agree. All right. Then we got some more debunk theories about family involvement, son-in-law theory. I'm not going to officially debunk anything because I don't believe the sheriff, and he did not persistently defend the fact that Annie and Tommaso have been cleared. So I'm not going to go with that. You guys already saw that earlier. You saw my take. Ashley Banfield's the one that came out with that theory by a source, and I agree. However, former FBI agent Steve explained on Brian Etten Show the warrantless search of Annie's home likely indicated investigators were looking at domestic help or a handyman connected to that home, not the family themselves. He noted that Annie helped care for her mother, meaning people within her circle could have assessed information about her home. Yesterday, February 16th, Sheriff Nanos formally cleared the family. BS. And then we got a botched burglary theory, which says it was debunked. Law enforcement suggested they might have been complex and could have been simple burglary gone wrong. Don't believe it at all. All right. The motivation for it is where we get stuck. Again, it's just a theory. Ski mask found in Arizona. That was debunked. A viral video circulated on social media featuring dispatch audio on that 911 ski mask found in an alleyway 135 miles from Tucson, allegedly matching the ones worn. We have not been advised of anything, so we cannot be confirmed. That's what law enforcement said. Body found in Pima County. Everybody's been emailing me and saying, hey, Jay, I heard her body was found. There's a body found. I'm just going to say this is not factual. I've been saying it. We have not found her body at all. I'm staying away from that. AI enhanced suspect. I agree with that. That's why I stopped showing the side-by-side comparisons for now, because I don't want any part of the AI to look like we're trying to reveal something that's not true. So I do think that the images at the front door are absolutely turned AI when they put color in them. Okay. I'm so glad you guys are still here. We still have 202 people here, and I've been almost 4 hours. Oh my God, dark. This is what Dolly said. Jay was on vacation. Suddenly I see all channel. Dolly. I saw where's Jay? Who's Dolly? Take me all figured out. We miss you, Jay. We was missing you, Jay. Well, thank you. I missed y'all too. All right. Almost done. Pacemaker, hacking theory, speculative, not supported by evidence. A tech-focused conspiracy theory suggested Nancy's pacemaker was remotely hacked or jammed to incapacitate her before the kidnapper entered. 2:28 was when it stopped. Simply a timestamp. We don't know. Okay, media elite, political. Guys, I'm staying away from any kind of political targeting theory. I know that Nancy has been tied to Epstein and to Trump and all these other things, and they're talking about a symbolic strike to intimidate the I'm not going to go with that. Ransom notes as diversionary tactics, unresolved but under scrutiny. That I would have to say. Multiple analysts have questioned the legitimacy of the ransom notes, which were sent to media, KOLD and TMZ, rather than directly to the family, which is backwards for someone actually seeking ransom money. Both ransom deadlines passed, no payment, no consequences. At least one imposter ransom demand was sent to Derek Colella. That was the band member, a California man who was actually arrested and charged. And he's also connected to Tommaso and Annie. Though he had no involvement in the actual abduction, is what they're saying, which we don't even know if there was a real abduction or if she was taken and buried somewhere. All right. Shooting during SWAT operation, during Friday SWAT operation near Guthrie's home, circulated a witness saw a shooting and someone being killed. Tucson locals on Reddit explained this was almost certainly a flashbang used during SWAT being mistaken for a gunshot. Okay, so that's it. Misinformation. Expert authorities have repeatedly flagged the role of Rachel Blackburn from Integrity Project, noted that her heightened visibility often incites speculation. Arizona State Rep Alma Hernandez criticized what she called misinformation and speculation from self-described journalist and myself, a live streamer. Sheriff Nanos has consistently urged the public to rely on verified statements, even though his statements aren't verified. The case has attracted enormous attention from YouTubers, podcasters, TikTokers, and many of whom have traveled to Tucson and set up near the Guthrie home, including JLR and Dolly. Even President Trump stated that if Guthrie is found deceased, those responsible will face the most severe federal penalties. They asked, do you mean the death penalty? He said yes. Today, February 17th, Nancy Guthrie has not been found. No one's formally charged. DNA profile from the glove is awaiting final confirmation. We now know CODIS has nothing. Now we have to go to the genealogy. Investigators continue reviewing Walmart purchase records and surveillance for that backpack and even the clothes. I'm going to have to go with the Guthrie family being cleared as not completely. And then surveillance of the DNA retail purchase. FBI is rewarding $100,000 for information leading to the recovery. This says 13,000, 18,000. We just heard it was up to 50,000 tips. Authorities maintain operating belief that Nancy's still alive. If you guys have tips, call FBI. Tip line at 1-800-CALL-FBI or tips.fbi.gov. That's all I got for you today. There is Miss Nancy Guthrie. She's missing, and those are all the original black and whites and then the enhanced ones where you can see them in color, which gets changed. So, guys, let's bring Nancy Guthrie home. I really don't feel like the family has been cleared, and I can't wait to hear what the genealogy reports have to say. Why does this story keep changing? I don't know, but we're going to stay on it. All right. So thank you guys for being here. Thanks to everyone that helped us get to the goal today. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you to all the new members, all the old members, and everybody that was here for the show. Love you guys. Love you guys. Love you guys. And I'll be back tomorrow, 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern. All right, guys. Love you. Have a wonderful night. See you tomorrow. Bye. Thank you. Mwah.
Guilty of crime.
I want to thank you for watching. If you enjoyed my content, please share this video, like, and subscribe. You can also follow me over at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, X, or Gmail. If you'd like to donate to my channel, you can use Cash App or Venmo or PayPal. Thank you very much in advance. Guilty of crime.
Are you guilty of crime?